Chapter 2057. Why are the barbarian world trying to snatch the ancient elephant bloodline? Long Shersan was puzzled. The barbarian elephant is the totem of the ancient barbarian race, a supreme existence. The bloodline of the barbarian elephant is unimaginably attractive to the barbarian race. Unfortunately, the current barbarian race has lost its true meaning. The bloodline of the barbarian race is sacred, but the current barbarian race is just a bunch of evil barbarians. They have lost their sacred taste. However, if they could obtain the bloodline of the barbarian elephant, they would be able to cleanse their bloodline and make the barbarian world stronger. At that time, I'm afraid that even the immortal world would not be a match for the barbarian world. Heaven's Sovereign said. The barbarian world has started to meddle in the affairs of the immortal world. They have their eyes on the Xueqi immortal court. I feel that the new catastrophe is not far away. It could happen at any time. Jiang Chen said. Little Chenzi is right. Ancestor Green Lotus and Sister Ning have also said the same thing. The Buddhist sect and the Golden Clan are the nemesis of the barbarian world. Their words are not without reason. Looks like we have to prepare ourselves. De Huang Dog said. If the barbarian world were to attack the immortal world again, Nan will most likely be their main target. The ancient elephant bloodline in your body is too attractive to them. Jiang Chen looked at Nangong Wentian and said, Haha, let them come then. I, Nangong Wentian, have never been afraid. I was not able to participate in the previous catastrophe, but this time, I will definitely not miss it. Nangong Wentian laughed. The pressure from the barbarian world did not scare him at all. Instead, it stimulated his strong battle intent. All along they were battle maniacs. They had never been afraid of anything. Now that their cultivation base had reached such a level, there was nothing for them to be afraid of. Little Chenzi, the barbarian world will soon launch a new catastrophe. It has been a long time since the desolate ancient land. I'm worried that Ling Air will be in danger. De Huang Dog said. Thinking of Xueling Air, he, Jiang Chen and Long Shersan felt heavy. Little Chenzi, what's wrong with Ling Air? Nangong Wentian asked hastily. He wasn't unfamiliar with Xueling Air. They had both ascended from the same place and were the most important people around Jiang Chen. Ling Er has the complete barbarian god's bloodline. To the barbarian race, her bloodline is as important as the barbarian elephant bloodline. After Ling Er ascended, she ascended to the barbarian world because of her bloodline. She's now the saintess of the Xueqi family. However, the intention of the Xueqi family to nurture her is very obvious. As long as Ling Er becomes a great sovereign, her bloodline will be extracted by the higher-ups of the Xueqi family. I'm worried that Ling Er has already become a great sovereign. Barian King Jiang said. King. The Xueqi family is one of the top families in the barbarian world. There's a 9th-grade great sovereign guarding them. It's impossible to save Ling Er from the Xueqi family. It's impossible to save Ling Er from the desolate ancient land, said De Huang Dog. He understood the barbarian world very well. He knew that the Xueqi family was too powerful for them to handle. We can't wait any longer. Even if there's no chance of winning, I have to go. If it wasn't for Ling Er, we wouldn't have been able to walk out of the desolate ancient land. Jiang Chen said. They could have brought Xueling Air out of the desolate ancient land, but the experts of the barbarian world came. Even the patriarch of the Xueqi family, Xueqi Manjun, had to take action personally. If it wasn't for Xueling Air, Jiang Chen, Long Shersan and Yang Junlong would have been buried in the desolate ancient land. I'll go with you, Long Shersan said. No, I'll go alone this time. I'll act according to the situation when I get to the barbarian world. I have the Heavenly Dragon battle armor and the Zulong Tower. It shouldn't be a problem for me to stay alive. Jiang Chen stopped Long Shersan. This time, he was going to the barbarian world alone. He wouldn't even bring De Huang Dog along. It would be more convenient for him to do things alone. Saving Xueling Air was an urgent matter. He couldn't afford to delay any longer. The more he delayed, the more dangers Xueling Air would face. With the Xueqi family's methods and abundant resources, it was very easy for them to nurture a great sovereign. Moreover, Xueling Air possessed the powerful barbarian god bloodline. Her speed of improvement was incomparable to others. Of course, Xueling Air was also very smart. She understood her situation very well. She knew that as long as her cultivation base reached the great sovereign realm, it would be the time of her death. Therefore, in order to preserve her life, Xueling heir would definitely think of some methods to suppress her cultivation base. This was probably Jiang Chen's only chance. However, the three of them were still worried about Jiang Chen going to the barbarian world alone to save Xueling heir. Even if Jiang Chen had the ability to transcend the heavens, it was still too dangerous for him to enter the barbarian world like this. Just when everyone was frowning, Han Feng walked in from the outside. After killing Star Sovereign, Heaven Sovereign made Han Feng stay in Heaven Sovereign Palace to cultivate. Sovereign Lord, there's a woman outside who wants to see Jiang Chen. Han Feng said. What kind of woman? Jiang Chen asked curiously. She said that she's the saintess of the Golden Clan. Han Feng said. Sister Ning. Everyone said in unison. Why aren't you inviting her in? Heaven Sovereign was anxious. There's no need for that. I'm already here. While speaking, a woman in fiery red battle armor walked in. She had a graceful figure and a beautiful face. There was a golden crow halo on her head. The tight-fitting battle armor made her look extraordinarily noble, adding another kind of beauty to Wu Ningzhu. Sister Ning. They stood up at the same time. They couldn't be more familiar with Wu Ningzhu. Naturally, they were overjoyed to see Wu Ningzhu here. The bloodline of the Golden Clan is really powerful. Sister Ning has already reached the 3rd grade Great Sovereign Realm. De Huang Dog clicked his tongue in amazement. Sister Ning has obtained the inheritance of Empress Xiao Yao. It's only natural for her to improve so quickly. Long San said. When we were still in Saint Origin World, we never thought that such a day would come. Nangong Wentian couldn't help but sigh. Not only him, Jiang Chen and the others also felt the same. Now that they thought about it, what happened in Saint Origin World was like yesterday. Little Chenzi, the reason why I'm here is to invite you to the Golden Clan as a guest. Wu Ningzhu said. What? The Golden Clan has reappeared? Everyone was shocked. Judging from Wu Ningzhu's tone, the Golden Clan had already reappeared in the world, and the reappearance of the Golden Clan meant that a new catastrophe was coming. Yes, the Golden Clan has reappeared in the world. A new catastrophe is coming. Little Chenzi had protected the Golden Clan previously and made an unimaginable contribution to the clan. Therefore, the Golden Clan has specially invited Little Chenzi as a guest to discuss how to resist the coming catastrophe. Chapter 2058. Little Chenzi, it just so happens that you are planning to go to the barbarian world to save Ling Er. The Golden Clan is the biggest nemesis of the barbarian race. Now that the Golden Clan has reappeared, you can go to the Golden Clan first. Maybe it will be of great help to you when you go to the barbarian world. Nangong Wentian said. The entire immortal world knew about the contributions of the Golden Clan during the last catastrophe. It was no exaggeration to say that without the Golden Clan, the immortal world would have fallen in that catastrophe. As the nemesis of the barbarian race, the Golden Clan definitely had something that could restrain the barbarian race. Since Jiang Chen wanted to go to the barbarian world, it was necessary for him to visit the Golden Clan first. Back in the Golden Horizon, Jiang Chen had helped the Golden Clan fend off all the invaders and obtained the Sun Divine Feather. His body even contained the fire of the Golden Crow. He had already gained the recognition of the Golden Clan. Jiang Chen was indebted to the Golden Clan. He had contributed greatly to the Golden Clan's re-emergence. Furthermore, his wife was now the Golden Clan's holy maiden. Jiang Chen and the Golden Clan could be said to be inseparable. In addition, Jiang Chen's talent was extraordinary and he was the #1 genius in the world. The Golden Clan would definitely attach great importance to him. It could be said that in the eyes of the Golden Clan, Jiang Chen was a solid force that could resist the barbarians in the future. You want to go to the barbarian world to save Ling Er? It's too dangerous. When Wu Ningzhu heard Jiang Chen's plan, she immediately revealed a worried expression. After becoming the saintess of the Golden Clan, Wu Ningzhu was already quite familiar with the barbarian world. It was also because of this familiarity that she felt the horror of the barbarian world. If Jiang Chen went to the barbarian world alone to save Xueling Er, it would be 100 times more dangerous than going through a mountain of knives or a sea of flames. There was almost no possibility of success and hope. If things went wrong, even Jiang Chen would not be able to come out and would die in the barbarian world. Sister Ning, Ling Er is in danger. How can I not save her? If it wasn't for Ling Er, we wouldn't have been able to walk out of the desolate ancient land. So, even if the barbarian world is a dragon's pool and a tiger's den, I still have to go. Jiang Chen's momentum shook. Sigh. Wu Ningzhu couldn't help but let out a sigh. She knew that Jiang Chen was a person who valued friendship and righteousness. Jiang Chen would definitely not sit idly when Ling was in trouble. It was just like how Jiang Chen came to Fengqi Immortal Court without hesitation when Nangong Wentian was in trouble. Nobody could change the decision that Jiang Chen had made. Moreover, if Xueqi was really in trouble, Wu Ningzhu had no reason to stop Jiang Chen. Even she herself was worried about Xueqi. Since you're determined to go, follow me to the Golden Clan first. You might be able to get some help there. Wu Ningzhu said. All right, then let's not delay any further. Let's go. Jiang Chen said. Then I'll also return to the demonic immortal island for the time being to prepare for the upcoming catastrophe. De Huang Dog will stay behind to help Nan deal with the matters of the immortal court. Little Chenzi, be careful in the barbarian world. But I believe that no one in this world can kill you. I hope that you can create another miracle. Long San patted Jiang Chen's shoulder. Don't worry, I won't die. Jiang Chen smiled. There were some things that needed to be done. Jiang Chen had fought against the barbarian race before, so he was very experienced. Afterwards, Jiang Chen followed Wu Ningzhu to the Golden Clan. Long San returned to the demonic immortal island, and De Huang Dog stayed behind to help Heaven's sovereign manage the immortal court. The heaven and earth were calm, but it gave people the feeling of undercurrents surging. If the catastrophe came, this beautiful immortal world would once again become a purgatory on earth. After walking out of the immortal court, Wu Ningzhu took out a reddish golden talisman. The talisman was branded with a dancing golden crow, looking extremely mystical. Wu Ningzhu struck out a golden energy into the talisman. In an instant, the talisman turned into an illusory portal. Behind the portal was a void passage that led directly to the Golden Clan. Jiang Chen and Wu Ningzhu's bodies flickered and vanished into the portal. Then the portal vanished, and the void returned to its tranquil state, as if nothing had happened. The Golden Clan was still in the original Golden Horizon, but the current Golden Horizon was completely different from before. In the past, the Golden Horizon was filled with murderous qi, lifeless qi, and all kinds of demons and devils ran amok. Now that the Golden Clan had reappeared in the world, the environment of the entire Golden Horizon immediately underwent earth-shattering changes. The entire space was filled with a sacred aura. There was a scorching sun in the sky that would never set, regardless of day or night. Golden mountains stretched as far as the eye could see. 7-colored divine birds flew across the sky from time to time. The air was filled with blazing immortal qi. The Golden Horizon looked nothing like before's. After the reappearance of the Golden Clan, the entire Golden Horizon was filled with the brilliance of the Golden Clan. All the existing devils were completely destroyed. Now, the entire Golden Horizon has become the holy land of the Golden Clan. There will no longer be any talk of opening the Golden Horizon in the future. Wu Ningzhu said with a smile. This clan is really scary. Jiang Chen sighed. In the past, Golden Sovereign had used a supreme technique to seal the Golden Clan. After countless years, the Golden Clan has reappeared in the world, and the living forces of the past have been preserved. Wu Ningzhu said. How many great sovereigns does the Golden Clan have now? Jiang Chen asked curiously. I'm not sure about the exact number, but there are at least a few hundred great sovereigns. The one who controls the Golden Clan now is Scarlet Heaven Great Sovereign. His cultivation base has reached the peak of the 8th grade Great Sovereign Realm, and he's only a step away from the 9th grade Great Sovereign Realm. He's extremely terrifying. Wu Ningzhu said. Hiss. After listening to Wu Ningzhu's words, Jiang Chen couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. A peak 8th grade Great Sovereign, plus the special bloodline of the Golden Clan. Wouldn't that mean that they could fight against a 9th grade barbarian sovereign of the barbarian world? It seemed like the living forces of the Golden Clan had been preserved. It was imaginable that the Golden Clan would play an important role in the upcoming second catastrophe. Currently, no one knows about the reappearance of the Golden Clan. Not even the experts of Sovereign Domain know about it. Otherwise, the Golden Clan would have been crushed by those supreme great sovereigns of Sovereign Domain. Wu Ningzhu said with a smile. Jiang Chen nodded. She wasn't boasting at all. The reputation of the Golden Clan wasn't just for show. If the rulers of Sovereign Domain knew about the reappearance of the Golden Clan, they would come to congratulate them. However, the first thing the Golden Clan did after their reappearance was to invite a nobody like him. This made Jiang Chen's heart filled with pride. Let's go and meet the patriarch, Wu Ningzhu said and brought Jiang Chen to the gate of the Golden Clan. Chapter 2059. On both sides of the Golden Gate were two pillars that pierced through the clouds. The pillars were engraved with ancient runes and diagrams. At the top of the gate, there was a lifelike divine bird hanging in the air. The divine bird had a pair of golden wings, and it raised its head to the sky. It gave off an incomparably noble aura, causing people to involuntarily feel a sense of awe and reverence. At this moment, there were at least 20 powerful golden warriors standing in front of the gate of the Golden Clan. Jiang Chen looked over and found that these guards were all at the Immortal Emperor realm. This showed how powerful the Golden Clan was. Welcome, benefactor. A guard captain strode towards Jiang Chen and clasped his fists at Jiang Chen. His tone and attitude were extremely respectful. Benefactor? This form of address stunned Jiang Chen. It was true that he had contributed to the Golden Clan, but it wasn't to the extent of being a benefactor. Even though all the geniuses had entered the remains of the Golden Clan that day, they still couldn't stop the reappearance of the Golden Clan. Moreover, Jiang Chen had also obtained the Sun Divine Feather, which could be considered as a great benefit. More importantly, the way the guard captain looked at him seemed to be very familiar with him. At the very least, the guard captain knew him, but this was the first time that Jiang Chen met this guard captain. Little Chenzi, do you still remember those golden warriors in front of the gate of the Golden Clan that day? Wu Ningzhu said with a smile. Jiang Chen came to a sudden realization. That day, he and a Huang dog were guarding in front of the gate, stopping everyone from entering. At that time, there was a group of golden warriors here. However, these golden warriors were in a sealed state, so Jiang Chen could only see their rough figures. He didn't pay special attention to their appearance. Now, it seemed that these guards were the golden warriors of that day. Benefactor, if it weren't for your help that day, we would have lost our lives. We were in a sealed state at that time and couldn't display much of our strength. If those people wanted to barge into the clan, we would have died to stop them. The guard captain spoke. The incident that happened in the Golden Horizon had been recorded in a special video. After the Golden Clan reappeared, this video was passed to every clansman. Therefore, almost everyone in the Golden Clan knew who Jiang Chen was. In other words, Jiang Chen had never been to the Golden Clan, but he had already become a very famous person. This is what I should do. Jiang Chen smiled, not daring to claim credit. All right, I'm going to take him to see the patriarch. Wu Ningzhu said. Yes, Saintess. The guard captain bowed to Wu Ningzhu, then made an inviting gesture. Wu Ningzhu was now the Saintess of the Golden Clan with the terrifying cultivation base of a third-grade great sovereign. These guards would naturally show respect to her. Wu Ningzhu brought Jiang Chen into the Golden Clan. There were golden mountains everywhere. The palaces and ancient pagodas were also golden. The main color of this place was golden. Anyone who came in would feel as if they were bathing in a golden ocean. There was only one palace in the center of the Golden Clan. It was where the patriarch resided. Wu Ningzhu brought Jiang Chen and flew towards the palace. The palace was 10 meters high and golden in color. There was a plaque hanging above the palace. On it were 4 big words written in flamboyant calligraphy. Scarlet Heaven Main Palace. This was the palace of Scarlet Heaven Great Sovereign, the most honorable place in the Golden Clan. At this moment, the gate of the palace was not closed. Jiang Chen followed Wu Ningzhu into the palace. The huge palace seemed a little spacious. Currently, there were more than 10 higher-ups of the Golden Clan sitting in the main hall. As soon as they stepped into the palace, Jiang Chen immediately felt an extremely powerful pressure pouncing on him. However, Jiang Chen was still as calm as a mountain under this terrifying pressure. Upon seeing this, the higher-ups of the Golden Clan nodded secretly, their eyes showing a hint of admiration towards Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen looked around and found that the weakest among them was a 7th-grade Great Sovereign. There were 5 to 6 8th-grade Great Sovereigns. This was the first time that Jiang Chen had seen such a terrifying lineup. These people were definitely not the full strength of the Golden Clan. According to Jiang Chen's attack, there was a high possibility that there were 9th-grade Great Sovereigns behind the Golden Clan. The Golden Clan was not under the control of Sovereign Domain. Therefore, there was no need for experts above the 6th-grade Great Sovereign to enter Sovereign Domain. This was an independent clan that belonged to the pinnacle of the immortal world. There was no force in the immortal world that could demand the Golden Clan to do anything. Patriarch. Wu Ningzhu bowed to a middle-aged man who was sitting at the head of the table. He seemed to be in his 40s. He had a square face, sword-like eyebrows, and tiger-like eyes. His eyes were constantly emitting golden light. Just by sitting there without moving, he gave people a great pressure. He was wearing a golden robe that was embroidered with various kinds of divine golden crows. He was the patriarch of the Golden Clan, Scarlet Heaven Great Sovereign, Jin Qishao. Jiang Chen greets the patriarch, greets the seniors. Jiang Chen also cupped his fists. He knew that these people in front of him were people that had lived for countless years. They had existed since the ancient times. However, they were sealed and had only reappeared now. However, Jiang Chen understood that the overall strength of the Golden Clan had been increasing after being sealed for tens of thousands of years. This could be seen from the strength of these people in front of him. Facing these people who had made great contributions to the immortal world, even Jiang Chen had to show his respect. Jiang Chen, don't be shy. We all know about your contributions to the Golden Clan. That's why you were the first to be invited after the reappearance of the Golden Clan. From now on, you are the distinguished guest of the Golden Clan. Scarlet Heaven Great Sovereign said. He had seen the strength and talent that Jiang Chen had displayed in the video. Moreover, Jiang Chen's calm and composed performance had given Jin Qishao a very good impression of Jiang Chen. You flatter me. Jiang Chen smiled. Jiang Chen, the Golden Clan has already prepared a residence for you. You can live here in the future. You can also use the cultivation resources of the Golden Clan as you please. A new catastrophe is coming. Only by continuously increasing your strength can you deal with it, Jin Qishao said. His words were filled with the intention to rope in Jiang Chen. He had even prepared a residence for Jiang Chen. It seemed that he was prepared to let Jiang Chen join the Golden Clan directly. Moreover, he could use all the cultivation resources of the Golden Clan as he pleased. Anyone in the immortal world would have fainted from such temptation. Chapter 2060. The other great emperors looked at Jiang Chen calmly. From their point of view, Jiang Chen was an outsider. It was definitely a supreme honor for Jiang Chen to be able to join the Golden Clan. Jiang Chen would definitely be extremely excited and grateful to Jin Qishao. To Jiang Chen, it didn't matter if he joined the Golden Clan or not. Anyway, it was to fight against the barbarian race. Moreover, Wu Ningzhu was the saintess of the Golden Clan. As Wu Ningzhu's husband, Jiang Chen could be considered as half a member of the Golden Clan. However, Jiang Chen couldn't agree to stay in the Golden Clan as he still had something important to do. Clan leader's kindness, Jiang Chen can only appreciate it. After coming to the Golden Clan as a guest, I will be going to the barbarian world. Jiang Chen said. He couldn't hide the fact that he was going to the barbarian world from the Golden Clan, because he wanted to obtain some benefits from the Golden Clan. What? After hearing Jiang Chen's words, more than a dozen high-class great emperors exclaimed. They were angry that Jiang Chen dared to reject Jin Qishao. However, when they heard that Jiang Chen was going to the barbarian world, all their anger immediately turned into shock. Jiang Chen, you want to go to the barbarian world? Are you joking? With your cultivation, I'm afraid you will die immediately if you go to the barbarian world. One of the great emperors said impolitely. Jiang Chen, why are you going to the barbarian world? Jin Qishao asked. To save someone. Jiang Chen said faintly. Save someone? Jin Qishao was stunned. That's right. I have a very good friend. She's the saintess of the barbarian world's Xueqi family. We are sworn brothers. We ascended from the next batch. Jiang Chen said. Why would your friend ascend to the barbarian world? Moreover, how did you know that your friend is in the Xueqi family? A great emperor asked. Seniors, listen to me. My friend possesses the complete bloodline of the barbarian god. That's why she automatically entered the barbarian world when she ascended. You all should know the importance of the bloodline of the barbarian god. That's why the Xueqi family nurtured her as a saintess. However, the intention of the Xueqi family is very clear. They'll extract the bloodline of the barbarian god once she reaches the great sovereign realm. If the barbarian race obtains the bloodline of the barbarian god, the strength of the barbarian race will skyrocket. It'll be very disadvantageous to the immortal world. Not long ago, I went to the desolate ancient land to rescue someone and coincidentally met my friend. I killed too many of the geniuses of the barbarian race that day, causing a huge commotion. In the end, the patriarch of the Wuka family, Wuka Manjun, personally took action. If it wasn't for my friend threatening me with her life, I'm afraid I would have died in the desolate ancient land. Jiang Chen told them everything he knew. He believed that these people knew very well how important the barbarian god's bloodline was. Barbarian god's bloodline. Everyone's expression changed, including Jin Qixiao's. They suddenly realized that Jiang Chen was not only going to the barbarian world to save people, but also to prevent the barbarian god's bloodline from falling into the hands of the barbarian race. Once the higher-ups of the barbarian race obtained the bloodline of the barbarian race, the consequences would be dire. A terrifying figure that the immortal world couldn't deal with might appear in the barbarian race. At the same time, everyone's gaze fell on Jiang Chen. The way they looked at Jiang Chen changed. A person who could escape from Wuka Manjuan's hands, no matter what method he used, was already something to be proud of. They knew very well what kind of terrifying existence Wuka Manjun was. It has been quite some time since the last time we went to the desolate ancient land. I'm guessing that my friend is about to reach the great sovereign realm. Therefore, there's no time to lose. Even if the barbarian world is a dragon's pool and a tiger's den, I will still go there. Jiang Chen said resolutely. His tone was so firm that there was almost no room for negotiation. Jin Qixiao and the others were moved once again. The way they looked at Jiang Chen changed again. The initial admiration had now turned into respect. This young man valued friendship and righteousness. For the sake of his friend, he didn't hesitate to risk his life to go to the barbarian world. Putting aside whether Jiang Chen could complete the mission in the end, his courage alone was enough to convince everyone. Jiang Chen, if I'm not mistaken, you're only a second-grade great sovereign, right? How can you go to the Wuka family to save people with such a cultivation realm? Jin Qixiao said. Naturally. I'll act according to the circumstances. I've fought with the barbarian race before and I know their characteristics very well. It won't be difficult for me to disguise myself and sneak into the Wuka family. Moreover, the cultivation method that I'm cultivating is very effective against the barbarian race. Of course, it's not about how I'm going to do it, but I must do it. No matter what, I'm definitely going to the barbarian world. Jiang Chen paused for a moment and continued. Of course, I should go to the barbarian world directly. Before that, I'll visit the Golden Clan to see if I can get any help. After all, the Golden Clan is the bane of the barbarian race. They should have some means to help me. Jiang Chen, do you want the experts of the Golden Clan to go with you? One of the great sovereigns said. Of course not. The aura of the Golden Clan is too thick, it can't be concealed at all. The barbarian race must be very familiar with you guys. I'm afraid that we'll be discovered the moment we reach the barbarian world. By then, it'll be hard for us to stay alive, let alone save people. The barbarian world is the base camp of the barbarian race. Even if Scarlet Heaven Great Sovereign comes with me, I'm afraid that it'll be useless. I can still hide myself if I go alone, said Jiang Chen. He didn't need to go to the Golden Clan if he only wanted to seek help. With the strength of the Wuka family, not to mention Jin Qixiao, even a 9th-grade great sovereign of the Golden Clan wouldn't be able to save Xueqi from the Wuka family easily. Even if he could save Xueqi he wouldn't be able to leave the barbarian world. Jiang Chen, your trip to the barbarian world will be filled with danger. However, the barbarian god bloodline must not fall into the hands of the barbarian race. Therefore, the Golden Clan will definitely support you. I can give you a treasure that can help you, but you must fight for it yourself if you have the capability. Scarlet Heaven Great Sovereign said. Please speak, Patriarch. Jiang Chen said. In the past, Golden Sovereign sealed the Golden Clan with a heaven-defying technique, protecting the lifeline of the Golden Clan. However, he died and left behind the Golden Clan's treasure, the Golden Feather Fan. However, the Golden Feather Fan has its own spirituality. Not just anyone can control it. Not even I can. Therefore, the clan has decided to hold a competition among the younger generation 2 days later to choose a person who can obtain the recognition of the Golden Feather Fan. Jin Qixiao said. Patriarch, Jiang Chen isn't from our clan. He's not qualified to participate in the competition for the Golden Feather Fan. Oh right, Patriarch. Jiang Chen is an outsider after all. Chapter 2061. Qixiao waved his hand to signal the others to keep quiet. Then, he looked at Jiang Chen and said, So, Jiang Chen, if you want the gold feather fan, you must join the Golden Clan. Only the clansmen of the Golden Clan are qualified to participate in the competition the day after tomorrow. All right, I'm willing to join. Jiang Chen didn't even think about it and immediately agreed. There was no loss for him to join the Golden Clan. If he could get the gold feather fan this time, it would undoubtedly be a great trump card when he entered the barbarian world. During the first catastrophe, the gold feather fan became famous along with the Golden Emperor. Clan leader, Someone wanted to say something but was stopped by Jin Qishao again. Everyone, we have all experienced the catastrophe. You all know how strong the barbarian race is. The reason why the Golden Clan reappeared in the world is to deal with the second catastrophe. Jiang Chen is going to the barbarian world to save people this time to prevent the barbarian race from obtaining the barbarian god's bloodline. You all know the importance of this. Moreover, no one can control the gold feather fan. If the catastrophe comes and the master can't be found, it will be a great loss. Jiang Chen has made great contributions to the Golden Clan, and he has obtained the approval of the Sun Divine Feather. He already has a trace of the Golden Clan's bloodline. If he can control the gold feather fan, it will be a good thing for us. Jin Qishao said. One of the main reasons why he let Jiang Chen participate in the competition was that Jiang Chen had obtained the approval of the Sun Divine Feather. The Sun Divine Feather itself was a part of the gold feather fan. Since he could obtain the approval of the Sun Divine Feather, it was very likely that he could obtain the approval of the gold feather fan as well. If the immortal dimension were to lose a precious treasure like the gold feather fan in the future calamity, then it would undoubtedly be a loss. Of course, Jiang Chen, if you want to obtain the gold feather fan, you must defeat all the competitors. The gold feather fan only accepts the strongest, and only then will it be recognized. So, becoming the strongest is the first step. I've provided you with the qualifications to participate in the competition, but whether you can obtain the gold feather fan in the end will depend on your own ability. I have to remind you that becoming the strongest among the younger generation of the Golden Clan is not an easy task. I know that your talent is heaven-defying and it's easy for you to kill people above your level, but defeating all the younger generation of the Golden Clan is also very difficult. Jin Qishao smiled and said, Jiang Chen, you can be considered as a member of our Golden Clan now, but I'm not too optimistic about your cultivation base. A 7th grade Great Sovereign Elder chuckled. The others also revealed a smile on their faces. It wasn't a mocking smile, but a confident smile. It was the confidence they had towards the geniuses of the Golden Clan. They believed that even if Jiang Chen was weakened by Jin Qishao and could participate in the competition 2 days later, the result of the competition would not be optimistic at all. It's my Jiang Chen's honor to be able to fight a true peerless genius. A hint of battle intent was revealed in Jiang Chen's eyes. The strength of the geniuses of the Golden Clan was imaginable. They were certainly not comparable to the geniuses of the Immortal Court. If the #1 genius of the Immortal Court, Yu Huafan, was here, he wouldn't even care about his rank. You can ask the Saintess to bring you to the Golden Pagoda to cultivate and absorb the pure golden qi in the next 2 days. It may be helpful to you. Jin Qishao said. All right, then I'll take my leave. Jiang Chen clasped his fists at Jin Qishao, then left the main hall with Wu Ningzhu. Sister Ning, what's the Golden Pagoda? Jiang Chen asked after walking out of the main hall. The Golden Pagoda is the place for the Golden Clan to cultivate. There's the purest golden qi in it. You've obtained the recognition of the Sun Divine Feather, and you already have the fire of sun in your body, so it's not difficult for you to absorb the golden qi. It's said that the Golden Pagoda contains the bloodline power of the Golden Crow, which is the purest young existence in the heavens and earth. However, this kind of power is extremely rare, and not many people can absorb it. If you can absorb it, you'll gain boundless benefits. If you can absorb the bloodline power, you may be able to break through to the 3rd grade Great Sovereign Realm. Only by reaching the 3rd grade Great Sovereign Realm will you have a chance to win the competition 2 days later. Wu Ningzhu said. Only a 3rd grade Great Sovereign can win? How strong are the geniuses of the Golden Clan? Jiang Chen couldn't help but sigh. If you can advance to the 3rd grade Great Sovereign Realm, then you only need to pay attention to one person. His name is Jin Tianyuan, a 5th grade Great Sovereign. In addition to the terrifying bloodline of the Golden Clan, he can easily kill a 6th grade Great Sovereign. Wu Ningzhu said. Her face was filled with worry. The Golden Clan is worthy of its name, to have such a heaven-defying existence. But that's good too. I haven't felt pressure for a long time. I'm looking forward to fighting against such a genius. Jiang Chen revealed a smile at the corner of his mouth. Jin Tinyuan's existence did not make Jiang Chen fearful. Instead, he became incomparably excited. Fighting against such a genius would always arouse his passion and fighting spirit. I heard that the gold feather fan contains something left behind by Golden Sovereign. It's very terrifying. If you can get the gold feather fan, you'll have more confidence in going to the barbarian world with this trump card. I'll be more relieved. Wu Ningzhu said. She felt sorry for this man of hers. He was a sentimental and righteous man. He always put himself in the most dangerous situation, which made people tremble in fear. But it was also because of this that Wu Ningzhu loved Jiang Chen deeply. Jiang Chen had always been her biggest pride. I will definitely get the gold feather fan. Jiang Chen's expression was filled with confidence. He had no confidence in saving Xueling in the barbarian world, so he wanted to increase his strength as much as possible. I believe you can do it. Let's go. I'll bring you to the Golden Pagoda now. It's very difficult to advance to the third grade Great Sovereign Realm in 2 days, but it doesn't seem to be too difficult for you. Wu Ningzhu smiled. She was full of confidence in Jiang Chen. All along, there was nothing that Jiang Chen couldn't do. The Golden Pagoda was the symbol of the Golden Clan. It had a total of 9 floors, and was specially opened for all the clansmen of the Golden Clan. Whether it was the young geniuses or the supreme elders of the Great Sovereign Realm, anyone could enter the Golden Pagoda to cultivate. Of course, being a member of the Golden Clan was the only requirement to enter the Golden Pagoda. Chapter 2062. Within a sealed space in the 9th floor, Jiang Chen was sitting on top of a huge cushion. He quickly adjusted his condition to its peak. The entire space was filled with dense golden qi. Just a breath of it would make one feel relaxed and indescribably comfortable. However, no amount of golden qi was of much use to Jiang Chen. Even if he were to crazily absorb it for 2 days, he would only be able to condense 2,000 dragon marks at most. 2,000 dragon marks were of no use to a third-grade great sovereign like him. The current number of dragon marks in Jiang Chen's body was 1.78 million. He still needed 20,000 dragon marks to advance to the third-grade great sovereign realm. According to Jin Qishao, the Golden Pagoda that represented the symbol of the Golden Clan should contain a true bloodline inheritance. This bloodline was purer than most of the Golden Clan's bloodline. One should know that although the Golden Clan was the descendant of the Golden Crow clan, there was almost no one who possessed the complete Golden Crow bloodline. At most, they were only related to the Golden Crow bloodline. That was why they were called the Golden Clan. The bloodline in their body was also called the Golden Bloodline, not the Golden Crow bloodline. Even the bloodline in Golden Sovereign and Empress Xiao Yao's body was not the complete Golden Crow bloodline. It was just that the composition of the bloodline was higher. The Golden Feather Fan was the only one in the Golden Clan who possessed a strong and pure bloodline. Therefore, if Jiang Chen wanted to advance to the third-grade Great Sovereign Realm, he not only needed to absorb the golden qi here, but also the bloodline inheritance. Only by absorbing the powerful bloodline could Jiang Chen advance to the third-grade Great Sovereign Realm in 2 days. Otherwise, he would not have the chance to advance to the third-grade Great Sovereign Realm. Jiang Chen's aura fluctuated and he casted the Great Soul Derivation technique. Soul power spread to every corner of the Golden Pagoda like tidal waves. A large amount of golden qi entered Jiang Chen's body and was quickly refined and absorbed by the circulation of the dragon transformation skill. 3 hours passed in a blink of an eye. Jiang Chen had casted the Great Soul Derivation technique to the extreme, but he still did not absorb anything related to the Golden Crow bloodline. This made Jiang Chen very disappointed. Voila! Jiang Chen retracted his soul power and frowned. If there was no progress after 3 hours, then even if he used the same method for 3 more days, he would still end up with nothing. This was almost certain. Since this method didn't work, Jiang Chen changed to another method. Jiang Chen took out the Sun Divine Feather and activated the Sun Fire. These 2 things were related to the inherited bloodline, so they might be useful. Buzz buzz. The moment the Sun Fire and the Sun Divine Feather appeared, the golden qi in the space instantly became restless. Jiang Chen once again released his soul power and immediately sensed the invisible bloodline power. This made Jiang Chen very excited. It seemed that this method was very effective. Traces of bloodline power entered Jiang Chen's body. This was the power of the origin. It directly integrated with Jiang Chen's origin. Under the absorption of the dragon transformation skill, the bloodline power quickly became pure energy and condensed into dragon marks. Jiang Chen had a lot of bloodlines in his body. Therefore he could absorb any bloodline very quickly, almost effortlessly. Buzz buzz. There was a buzzing sound in his Qi and it became restless. New dragon marks were condensed one after another. In the blink of an eye, there were 10,000 dragon marks. Unfortunately, the bloodline power absorbed by the Sun Fire and the Sun Divine Feather could only help Jiang Chen condense 10,000 dragon marks. It was impossible for him to condense more dragon marks. The bloodline power was still too little. It was not enough. However, the Sun Fire and the Sun Divine Feather seemed to be so attractive. Jiang Chen tried to use them to continue to absorb the bloodline power hidden in the dark, but he found that there was nothing. Helplessly, Jiang Chen kept the Sun Divine Feather and the Sun Fire. Here came the problem. He was still 10,000 dragon marks away from the third-grade Great Sovereign Realm. It was almost impossible to condense 10,000 dragon marks in a short period of time, unless he could absorb more bloodlines. Jiang Chen pondered for 2 hours, but he still couldn't find a way to absorb more bloodlines. Suddenly, there was a throbbing sound in the depths of his Qi. This movement immediately attracted Jiang Chen's attention. Jiang Chen noticed that the throbbing sound was the immortal mark that had been silent for a long time. This immortal mark had not been used for a long time. As time passed, Jiang Chen had almost forgotten about it. However, Jiang Chen knew that this immortal mark was extraordinary. It had helped Jiang Chen a lot in the past. Back in Saint Origin World, the immortal mark was able to deceive the Heaven's Secret, preventing the immortals of Shao family from ascending. When he ascended, it was also because of this immortal mark that he was able to escape the attack of the Northern and Southern dynasties. To put it bluntly, this immortal mark had contributed a lot to Jiang Chen. It had saved his life. At this moment, the throbbing sound of the immortal court immediately attracted Jiang Chen's attention. I don't know where this immortal mark came from. Even though my cultivation base has reached this level, I still have no way to explore its mysteries. Now, I can't communicate with more bloodline power. Perhaps this immortal mark can help me. Jiang Chen thought. Therefore, he took out the immortal mark with a mentality of giving it a try. Buzz. The moment the immortal mark appeared, the entire golden pagoda trembled violently. The golden qi in every space from the 1st to the 9th floor was agitated, making whistling sounds as if a storm was set off. Howl! In the next moment, an illusory golden crow appeared at the top of the golden pagoda. The divine scent seemed to have come from the inside of the golden pagoda. It was the representative of the golden clan, the symbol of the totem. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The deafening howl seemed to have come from the ancient times. It immediately alarmed everyone in the golden clan. Powerful figures flew out from different directions and looked at the golden pagoda. Look, that's the golden crow. It's the pure bloodline hidden in the golden pagoda. It's the totem of our golden clan. The golden pagoda has existed for countless years, but the true ancient bloodline has never appeared before. Today it has appeared. Someone must have been cultivating in the golden pagoda and activated the power of the bloodline. My God! Who's in there? Could it be Jin Tianyuan? This is unbelievable. No one was not shocked. Everyone's eyes fell on the golden raven without blinking, and their faces were filled with excitement. Chapter 2063. Patriarch, this kid is really extraordinary. He can actually activate the bloodline power in the golden pagoda. Even we can't do that. No wonder he can get the recognition of the Sun Divine Feather. An elder exclaimed in horror. Let's continue watching. This Jiang Chen is not simple. He has great luck and great fortune that surpasses everyone else. The Scarlet Firmament Emperor said. He had heard about Jiang Chen's previous achievements. Therefore, the Scarlet Firmament Emperor had always thought highly of Jiang Chen. Moreover, the fact that Jiang Chen could control the Sun Divine Feather indirectly meant that he had gotten the recognition of the Golden Emperor. This was very important. Otherwise, the Scarlet Firmament Emperor wouldn't have allowed an outsider to join the Golden Clan so easily. On top of the Golden Pagoda, the cave with the Golden Raven's shadow was filled with brilliance, attracting the attention of all the clansmen of the Golden Clan. Such a scene undoubtedly caused a huge uproar in the Golden Clan. After all, the power of the bloodline was the most important thing in the Golden Pagoda. All along, there had been members of the Golden Clan who had obtained the power of the bloodline, but there had never been anyone who could activate the power of the origin of the bloodline. Therefore, everyone wanted to see who the person who could activate the bloodline power of the origin was. Just when everyone was guessing who was inside, an earth-shattering dragon roar came from the golden pagoda. In the next moment, a young man in white flew out like a ghost and hovered in the air above the golden pagoda. This young man was none other than Jiang Chen. Who is this? I've never seen him before, but he looks so familiar. It's Jiang Chen. He's the Jiang Chen who once guarded the ruins of the Golden Clan. I didn't expect him to come to the Golden Clan. Could it be that the bloodline power in the Golden Pagoda was activated by him? How is that possible? He's not a member of the Golden Clan at all. It's Jiang Chen. I've seen his image before. He obtained the recognition of the Sun Divine Feather and has the bloodline of the Golden Clan in his body. That's why he can activate the bloodline power. This is too heaven-defying. Even Jin Tianyuan couldn't activate the pure bloodline power, but Jiang Chen actually did it. This is simply a miracle. Everyone was shocked. They didn't expect that the person who could activate the bloodline power of the Golden Pagoda was not Jin Tianyuan of the Golden Clan, but it was actually an outsider. Everyone was very familiar with this outsider. To the Golden Clan, Jiang Chen was a legend. Everyone had seen the video of Jiang Chen protecting the Golden Clan. Regardless of whether they knew Jiang Chen or not, their impression of Jiang Chen was very good. On the top of the Golden Pagoda, Jiang Chen clenched his hand and the illusory divine bird immediately entered his body. Under the circulation of the dragon transformation skill, the bloodline power began to be refined at a crazy rate. In his Qi Si, thousands of dragons roared and new dragon marks began to form. Very soon, 10,000 dragon marks were completely condensed. Ka-cha! Everyone heard a cracking sound. That was the sound of a breakthrough. In other words, Jiang Chen's cultivation had advanced from 2nd grade Great Sovereign to 3rd grade Great Sovereign in an instant. Awesome! I knew that this guy wouldn't disappoint us. Wu Ningzhu was incomparably excited. All along, Jiang Chen had created too many miracles. No matter where he went, there would always be miracles. On the first day of his arrival in the Golden Clan, he had already activated the bloodline power in the Golden Pagoda, causing such a huge commotion. This was Jiang Chen, Wu Ningzhu's man. In the sky, Jiang Chen continued to absorb the bloodline power. After reaching the 3rd grade Great Sovereign Realm, the bloodline power did not stop. In just a few minutes, another 30,000 dragon marks were condensed for Jiang Chen. As a result, the number of dragon marks in Jiang Chen's body had reached 1,830,000. He was only one step away from the 4th grade Great Sovereign Realm. The bloodline power was completely exhausted. This time, Jiang Chen's cultivation had advanced from the peak of 2nd grade Great Sovereign Realm to the peak of 3rd grade Great Sovereign Realm. Such a huge improvement made him more confident in the competition 2 days later. Scarlet Heaven Great Sovereign looked at Jiang Chen, whose luck was soaring to the heavens. His eyes shone with passion. This is a true heaven's favored son. In the coming catastrophe, he will play an extremely important role. Even the fate of the immortal world lies in his hands. Jiang Chen's eyes shone with excitement. Scarlet Heaven Great Sovereign's words shocked the surrounding higher-ups of the Golden Clan. They had never heard Scarlet Heaven Great Sovereign speak so calmly to a person. He even said that the future of the immortal world lies in this young man's hands. This made them look at Jiang Chen from a deeper level. They might not understand Jiang Chen, but they knew Scarlet Heaven Great Sovereign very well. His words were not without reason. Among the crowd, a young man in golden battle armor looked at Jiang Chen. His eyes were filled with complicated emotions, admiration, jealousy, and unwillingness. This young man was the #1 genius of the Golden Clan, Jin Tianyuan. Among the younger generation of the Golden Clan, he was the one who absorbed the most bloodline power from the Golden Pagoda. However, compared to Jiang Chen, there was a huge gap. This made Jin Tianyuan very uncomfortable. In his point of view, the bloodline power in the Golden Pagoda should belong to the Golden Clan. Although Jiang Chen had done the Golden Clan a favor, he was still an outsider after all. At the same time, Jin Tianyuan really admired Jiang Chen, because Jiang Chen had done something that he couldn't. People like Jin Tianyuan were usually arrogant and conceited. They wouldn't submit to anyone, and would only admire those who were stronger than them. Brother Tianyuan, looks like you have a strong opponent in the competition 2 days later. One of them said with a smile. He's indeed extraordinary to be able to absorb the bloodline power in the Golden Pagoda. However, he's just a third-grade great sovereign after all. He won't be a threat to me. The gold feather fan is still mine. Jin Tianyuan said with incomparable confidence. Brother Tianyuan, it's better to pay more attention to him. This guy is a super abnormal monster. You've seen the images that he left behind. Killing someone 3 levels higher than him is like child's play to him. Although you're 2 levels higher than him, you must not be careless. Someone reminded. Jin Tianyuan nodded secretly. He had seen the images that Jiang Chen left behind. He knew how terrifying Jiang Chen was. However, Jiang Chen was only a third-grade great sovereign. Jin Tianyuan was still not worried about him. He was very confident in his own strength. Chapter 2064. 2 days later. The martial field of the Golden Clan was very spacious. There were a total of 9 golden battle platforms on the field. Each platform was 100 zhang tall and towered into the clouds. There were powerful seals on the platforms that could withstand the attacks of great sovereigns. Today was the most important day since the reappearance of the Golden Clan. The martial field was already crowded with people early in the morning, especially those young people. Their eyes were filled with passion as they looked at the battle platforms. The geniuses of the Golden Clan were going to compete on the battle platforms today. The most powerful one would receive the inheritance of the gold feather fan. Of course, it was only a qualification. Whether he could receive the recognition of the gold feather fan was another matter entirely. Of course, if it was just to find the inheritor of the gold feather fan, this battle wouldn't be so necessary. Everyone knew that if they really fought, no one in the younger generation of the Gold Clan would be a match for Jin Tianyuan. Since that was the case, what was the point of competing? Therefore, the competition this time had another meaning, and that was to stimulate the fighting spirit of the geniuses. The top 10 in the competition would all receive great benefits from the clan, and this was the main reason why the geniuses were so excited. I must become famous after today's battle. I dare not say that, but I must perform well. As for the inheritor of the gold feather fan, don't even think about it. It must be Brother Tianyuan. I'm afraid it's hard to say this time. There's a very strong competitor. Are you talking about that Jiang Chen? Although he's talented, he's only a third-grade great sovereign. He can't possibly be a match for Brother Tianyuan. Not necessarily. It's better not to come to this conclusion too early. Jiang Chen has stimulated the bloodline power of the Golden Pagoda. His luck is above Brother Tianyuan's. Plus, we've seen his battle before. He killed an enemy 3 levels higher than him. He can be said to be a formidable opponent for Brother Tianyuan. The competition had yet to begin, but the sounds of discussion were already rising and falling. Regarding the competitors for the gold feather fan, Jin Tianyuan and Jiang Chen had undoubtedly become the focal point of everyone's attention. Before Jiang Chen had arrived, Jin Tianyuan had basically already been determined to be the successor of the gold feather fan. Now that Jiang Chen had arrived, there was even more suspense to this battle, causing everyone's attention to increase even more. Very soon, the Scarlet Heaven Emperor and the higher-ups of the Golden Clan appeared. The Scarlet Heaven Emperor casually explained the rules of the competition. It was nothing more than a competition of strength, and the winner was king. When the competition started, the geniuses of the Golden Clan were all eager to participate. They were locked in a fierce battle on the battle platform. Jiang Chen and Wu Ningzhu stood below and watched the exciting battle. Even Jiang Chen couldn't help but secretly nod. I have to say that the Golden Clan is indeed too powerful. Their geniuses are not something that ordinary geniuses can compare to. Jiang Chen said. That's for sure. The #1 clan in the ancient times isn't just an empty title. Wu Ningzhu smiled. Her tone was filled with pride. She was now the saintess of the Golden Clan. Naturally, she was happy to see the strength of the Golden Clan. Little Chenzi, today's biggest focus is on the battle between you and Jin Tianyuan. How confident are you? Wu Ningzhu looked at Jiang Chen. 100%. Jiang Chen smiled. His body emitted a strong sense of confidence. In this world, Jiang Chen had never met anyone that he couldn't defeat despite being 2 levels higher than him. He didn't care how much of a genius Jin Tianyuan was. Unless Jin Tianyuan advanced to the 6th grade great sovereign, otherwise, Jiang Chen was absolutely confident that he could defeat his opponent. He had already understood the bloodline of the Golden Clan very well. The reason why this clan was so powerful was because their bloodline was even. Every member of the Golden Clan had this kind of bloodline, so their overall strength was great. In addition, the bloodline of the Golden Clan greatly restrained the barbarians, which was why the Golden Clan was so famous. However, in terms of bloodline, the Golden Clan's bloodline was far inferior to the Battle Saint Ape, Draconic 13. Very quickly, the morning had passed. Most of the battles had ended. The person standing on the battle platform was a young man named Jin Tiangang. He was also a 5th grade great sovereign. He was the strongest among all the battles that had taken place before this. His cultivation base was at the 5th grade great sovereign realm. Swoosh! A figure flew up to the stage. It was Jin Tianyuan. Jin Tiangang grinned and laughed when he saw Jin Tianyuan going up the stage. Brother Tianyuan, I'm not your opponent. I'm not going to compete with you for the inheritance of the gold feather fan. After saying that, Jin Tiangang jumped down from the battle stage. Although they were both 5th grade great sovereigns, Jin Tianyuan's strength was too strong. Jin Tiangang had fought with Jin Tianyuan before, but he was no match for Jin Tianyuan. Therefore, he did not want to embarrass himself on the battle stage again. The gold feather fan would choose its own inheritor, and it would only choose the strongest one. In other words, the only person in the entire Golden Clan who had the chance to obtain the gold feather fan was him, Jin Tianyuan. Is there anyone who wants to challenge Jin Tianyuan? If not, I'll bring Jin Tianyuan to receive the inheritance of the gold feather fan. Scarlet Heaven Great Sovereign said loudly. As soon as his voice fell, countless eyes looked at Jiang Chen. Even Jin Tianyuan himself looked at him. Obviously, Scarlet Heaven Great Sovereign said those words on purpose. Everyone knew that the only one who could compete with Jin Tianyuan was Jiang Chen. Moreover, many of them knew the purpose of Jiang Chen's visit. It could be said that he was here for the gold feather fan. Therefore, Jiang Chen would not back down. Let me! Jiang Chen said loudly and straightforwardly. With a sway of his body, he jumped onto the fighting stage and stood opposite of Jin Tianyuan. Just like what everyone had guessed, Jiang Chen gave up his time to go to the barbarian world and stayed here for 2 days. His goal was to fight for the gold feather fan. Therefore, the battle between him and Jin Tianyuan was inevitable. Jiang Chen, I've heard of your name. I admire you for being able to absorb the bloodline power of the Golden Pagoda. You're indeed stronger than me. I, Jin Tianyuan, rarely admire people, but you, Jiang Chen, are one of them. However, I will not hold back in this battle, because I don't want the gold feather fan to fall into the hands of an outsider. Jin Tianyuan said to Jiang Chen. Brother Jin, you're wrong. I'm not an outsider. I've officially joined the Golden Clan. Moreover, I have the bloodline of the Golden Crow in my body. Jiang Chen smiled. His impression of Jin Tianyuan wasn't bad at all. The fact that Jin Tianyuan could say something like this was enough to prove that Jin Tianyuan was a man of temperament, and Jiang Chen liked dealing with people of temperament. Haha, good. Since that's the case, let me see what you're really capable of. They say that you can kill enemies 3 levels higher than you. I want to see it for myself. Jin Tianyuan laughed. A terrifying aura was emitted from his body. Chapter 2065. Waves of golden chi swept across the entire battle stage like a tidal wave. Jin Tianyuan's body swayed and flew up to the sky. Both of his hands drew in the air, opening up a battlefield. At his and Jiang Chen's level, their battle was extremely fierce. Even if the battle stage was covered with powerful seals, it wouldn't be able to withstand the powerful attacks of these 2 men. Come on, Jiang Chen! Jin Tianyuan shouted. His battle intent was unparalleled. He was the same as Jiang Chen, a battle-hungry person. Now that he was standing on the battle stage, his goal was no longer to obtain the gold feather fan, but to find an opponent that he could enjoy a good battle with. Jiang Chen's appearance had made Jin Tianyuan very excited. If he could obtain the gold feather fan without even fighting, it would be meaningless for him. Roar! Jiang Chen let out an earth-shattering dragon roar. He immediately transformed into his dragon form and flew up to the battlefield in the sky. What a monstrous transformation technique! Many of them sighed. However, they weren't surprised by Jiang Chen's transformation. In the images that were imprinted, Jiang Chen's battle strength could be increased by 10 times in an instant. It was extremely terrifying. Jin Tianyuan moved. He formed a powerful seal with both of his hands. The moment the seal was formed, it turned into a giant divine bird. It was extraordinarily brave and had blazing flames on its body. Following Jin Tianyuan's shout, the divine bird pounced towards Jiang Chen. Water Dragon Seal. Jiang Chen also moved. He struck out the Water Dragon Seal. Roar! A giant water dragon pounced out, roaring across the heavens and earth. In the blink of an eye, it collided with Jin Tianyuan's divine bird. Rumble! The two terrifying attacks clashed fiercely, completely tearing the void apart, and terrifying large holes appeared one after another. Water Dragon and Fire Bird. Water and fire were incompatible, but in this extreme battlefield, the Fire Dragon obviously had the upper hand. Moreover, Jiang Chen was a third-grade great sovereign. His combat strength was stronger than Jin Tianyuan's. Therefore, Jin Tianyuan could feel a great pressure from the start of the battle. Jiang Chen was a third-grade great sovereign. Rumble. Under the powerful attack of the Water Dragon, the Firebird was completely destroyed. On the other side, Jin Tianyuan revealed an incomparably shocked expression, and his expression was somewhat ugly. It was very obvious that Jin Tianyuan did not expect Jiang Chen to actually be strong to such an extent. However, Jin Tianyuan wasn't the slightest bit discouraged or afraid. He became even more excited. His golden hair fluttered in the wind as he began to prepare an even more powerful attack. Look, Brother Tianyuan is going to use the 9 transformation Golden Crow. This is the strongest attack of our Golden Clan. Brother Tianyuan has already used the 8th transformation. I wonder if Jiang Chen can handle it. I don't think there's a problem. Jiang Chen is too powerful. Although he's only a third-grade great sovereign, his combat strength is extremely fierce. Brother Tianyuan has already fallen into a disadvantageous position in the first collision. That's right. This is really an intense battle. It makes one's blood boil. Jiang Chen is also a member of the Golden Clan now. I have no opinion on who wins. Everyone was extremely excited. Only a battle like this could represent the pinnacle of the younger generation. This was a true battle between geniuses. Moreover, most of them had already subconsciously accepted Jiang Chen. For a genius like Jiang Chen to join the Golden Clan, it was undoubtedly a great thing for them. Therefore, regardless of whether it was Jiang Chen or Jin Tianyuan, the others would be very happy to see the winner of the Golden Feather Fan. Because no matter who obtained the Golden Feather Fan, it would eventually be used to fight against the barbarian race. On the battlefield, 8 giant golden crows were circling above Jin Tianyuan's head. The 8 golden crows were vivid and lifelike, as if they were real divine birds. Each of the divine birds contained a terrifying energy that could topple the mountains and overturn the seas. When they launched an attack together, one could imagine how powerful it was. Jiang Chen, this 9 forms golden crow is my strongest technique. I have cultivated it to the 8th form, and its power is terrifying and lethal. You have to be careful, said Jiang Chen. Jin Tianyuan said loudly. Come on, let me see how powerful you are. Jiang Chen's battle intent was unparalleled. He had to admit that Jin Tianyuan was indeed a good opponent. Jiang Chen was very excited to fight with such a person. The 9 transformation Golden Crow was a unique combat skill of the Golden Clan. Jiang Chen was also looking forward to this combat skill. How the 8 Golden Crows continuously let out sky-shaking roars. Then, the 8 Golden Crows formed a straight line and rushed towards Jiang Chen in a frenzy. But when they were about to reach Jiang Chen, the 8 Golden Crows suddenly merged into one, and its power increased by more than 8 times. This move could destroy the heavens and earth. Even an ordinary 6th-grade great sovereign would be crippled if not killed by this move. Facing this terrifying 9 transformation Golden Crow, Jiang Chen shouted. He let out a sky-shaking dragon roar. Terrifying killing intent spread out from his body. It was the charm of the great Dao's. Roar. A dragon roar was heard. A terrifying blood-red dragon emerged. The dragon's eyes were blood-red, without any emotion. It carried an endless killing intent and rushed towards the Golden Crow. What a powerful guy. Tianyuan has already lost. A 7th-grade great sovereign couldn't help but say. That's right. This Jiang Chen is not simple. Look at his attack. He has already comprehended the taste of the great Dao. It's a powerful Dao of slaughter, almost a Dao of destruction. Unless Tianyuan's 9 transformation Golden Crow has reached the 9th transformation, he won't be able to withstand it. Another 7th-grade great sovereign said. Jin Qixiao's eyes were sparkling with a hint of shock. Obviously, Jiang Chen's performance had given him a pleasant surprise. Rumble. Terrifying chi waves swept across the sky. The mad dragon of slaughter was too ferocious. That kind of killing intent was truly capable of destroying the heavens and earth. There was nothing in the heavens and earth that couldn't be killed. The 8 transformation golden crow was torn apart and completely suppressed when it came into contact with the mad dragon of slaughter. Deng deng deng. Jin Tianyuan was violently shaken, and he was forced back more than 10 steps before he could stabilize his body. His face had become incomparably pale, and his aura had also begun to become chaotic. With just this collision, his battle prowess had been reduced by at least half. In other words, if this was a battle of life and death, he would definitely die today in his current state. Brother Jiang, I've lost. Chapter 2066. Jin Tianyuan accepted his defeat wholeheartedly. He didn't have the slightest bit of stubbornness. At this time, even his previous jealousy was gone. People like him only respected the strong. Jiang Chen defeating him was the greatest form of respect Jin Tianyuan could muster. In Jin Tianyuan's eyes, defeat was nothing to be ashamed of. One couldn't help but admit that this mentality was really good. As for the gold feather fan, Jin Tianyuan didn't want anything else. The gold feather fan originally belonged to the strong. Jiang Chen was stronger than him. Naturally, Jiang Chen was more qualified to obtain the gold feather fan. Jiang Chen retracted his dragon form and secretly nodded to Jin Tianyuan. This person was really not bad. Amazing. This Jiang Chen is really a heaven-defying fellow. Even Jin Tianyuan isn't his opponent. He completely suppressed him. I already said that Brother Tianyuan would be in danger if he met Jiang Chen. The ending was just as I expected. This Jiang Chen is too powerful. Jiang Chen is now a member of our golden clan. We should be happy if he or Brother Tianyuan obtains the gold feather fan. The people of the golden clan were very surprised that Jiang Chen defeated Jin Tianyuan. However, most of them immediately accepted the result. Since Jiang Chen was also a member of the golden clan, no one would say anything if he or Jin Tianyuan won. Jiang Chen, come with me. Jin Qixiao waved his hand at Jiang Chen. Then, he drew a line in the void, tearing open a crack in the void. His body flashed and entered the crack. Jiang Chen did not hesitate and entered the crack as well. Many people looked at Jiang Chen with envy. They all knew that Jiang Chen was going to obtain the inheritance of the gold feather fan. Once he succeeded, Jiang Chen's status in the golden clan would become very high. He would directly become the next clan leader. In a completely sealed space, everywhere was filled with golden light. This space wasn't big, only 100 miles in radius. There was nothing else in this space except for a fan. However, this fan was too dazzling. Jiang Chen looked over and saw a huge fan that was emitting flames and golden light hovering in the air. It looked like a scorching sun. This fan had a circumference of 300 meters, and it looked like a huge cattail leaf fan. It was just too big. The fan emitted an ancient aura. It was noble and tall. The 9 golden crows were engraved on it, vivid and lifelike. It also contained a strong sun fire. Is this the gold feather fan? Jiang Chen's gaze fell upon the gold feather fan. He couldn't move his eyes away. The attraction of this huge fan was too great. It was the purest yang qi. One could imagine how much this fan could restrain the barbarian race just from the aura it emitted. That's right. This is the gold feather fan left behind by the golden sovereign. With your current cultivation, you can easily kill a 7th grade barbarian sovereign of the barbarian race if you use this fan. Jin Qixiao said. Of course, the premise is that you can obtain the gold feather fan's approval. Only then can you unleash its full power. Hearing this, Jiang Chen was shocked. He had once experienced the strength of a great sovereign of the barbarian world. With his current cultivation and his body's restraint, killing a 6th grade barbarian sovereign was effortless. However, killing a 7th grade barbarian sovereign was still a little difficult. But with the gold feather fan, he could kill a 7th grade barbarian sovereign in a second. He could even fight against an 8th grade barbarian sovereign. If I get the gold feather fan, I'll have another powerful trump card. Jiang Chen's eyes lit up as he stared at the gold feather fan in the sky. As far as I know, there's an image of golden sovereign left behind in the gold feather fan. This image can symbolically launch an attack. It's a full-force attack of Golden Sovereign. If it's used properly, this attack can kill a 9th-grade barbarian sovereign. Jin Qishao continued. What? Jiang Chen cried out in surprise after hearing this. His eyes widened even more. The attraction was too great. In other words, the gold feather fan contained a peak attack of Golden Sovereign. A peak attack that could kill a 9th-grade barbarian sovereign. It was too terrifying. Of course, there's another title for a great sovereign after reaching the 9th grade. It's called the Peerless Great Sovereign. The reason is that a person would enter another level after reaching the 9th grade. The gap between an 8th grade barbarian sovereign and a 9th grade barbarian sovereign is like night and day. Let me give you an example. You, Jiang Chen, can kill a strong enemy that's 3 levels higher. But if the opponent is a 9th grade barbarian sovereign, the gap will be greatly reduced. Jin Qishao said. Jiang Chen nodded secretly. He understood this point. Any 9th grade barbarian sovereign was an extremely terrifying existence. For example, if Jiang Chen was a 5th grade barbarian sovereign, he could easily kill an 8th grade barbarian sovereign. But when he became a 6th grade barbarian sovereign, he couldn't even defeat a 9th grade barbarian sovereign. In order to kill a 9th grade barbarian sovereign, his cultivation base must at least reach the 7th grade barbarian sovereign. Alright, Jiang Chen, try to communicate with the gold feather fan. See if you can become its successor. Jin Qishao looked at Jiang Chen. One could see that he was a bit nervous. He also hoped that Jiang Chen could control the gold feather fan. The calamity was coming. If no one could control the gold feather fan, it would be a great loss to the entire immortal world. Jiang Chen took a deep breath and took 2 big steps forward. The Sun Divine Feather appeared in his hand. Jiang Chen held the Sun Divine Feather and threw it upwards. The Sun Divine Feather was absorbed by the gold feather fan as if it was affected by a great attraction force. Wang Wang. After absorbing the Sun Divine Feather, the gold feather fan vibrated violently. The buzzing sound was exceptionally ear-piercing. Jiang Chen had added his own will into the Sun Divine Feather. Gold feather fan, come. Jiang Chen shouted at the gold feather fan. He suddenly reached out his hand and grabbed towards the gold feather fan. Voila! The gold feather fan moved. The huge gold feather fan gradually shrunk. In the blink of an eye, it was only the size of a palm. Then, it quickly fell into Jiang Chen's hand. The moment the gold feather fan fell into his hand, Jiang Chen immediately felt that the gold feather fan contained his powerful will. He and the gold feather fan were already inseparable. He could control it completely. Jiang Chen's spiritual will seeped into the gold feather fan. Immediately, he saw an image in the depths of the gold feather fan. In that image, there was a man wearing a golden battle robe. He was 10 meters tall. He floated in the air with an indomitable spirit. Golden Sovereign. Chapter 2067. Jiang Chen knew that the image of Golden Sovereign in the gold feather fan was the most powerful trump card that the gold feather fan could use at the moment. This trump card might play a great role in the barbarian world. There was no doubt about it. Now that he had mastered the gold feather fan, Jiang Chen could unleash that attack at any time. Unfortunately, he could only unleash that attack once. If he could unleash it endlessly, it would be really awesome. However, this was obviously unrealistic. If he wanted to unleash it endlessly, he would need Golden Sovereign to be reborn. Jin Qishao was very excited when he saw that Jiang Chen had mastered the gold feather fan in such a short period of time and had gained the recognition of the gold feather fan. Good. This is really good. Jiang Chen, you're really the one chosen by Golden Sovereign. No one else can control the gold feather fan except you. Jin Qishao praised Jiang Chen 3 times. After seeing the whole process of Jiang Chen controlling the gold feather fan, Jin Qishao finally understood that this Jiang Chen was the one chosen by Golden Sovereign. This was already determined when Jiang Chen obtained the Sun Divine Feather in the Golden Horizon. Otherwise, it would be impossible for Jiang Chen to master the gold feather fan so quickly. According to Jin Qishao's estimation, Jiang Chen would encounter great obstacles and difficulties if he wanted to control the gold feather fan. However, he never thought that the gold feather fan seemed to belong to Jiang Chen since the beginning. It was so easy for him to control it. Now that I have this gold feather fan, I have another powerful trump card. I'm going to the barbarian world immediately. Jiang Chen said. He didn't want to waste any more time. It was urgent to go to the barbarian world. Xueling Heir's life could be in danger at any time. Alright, since you have made up your mind, then go. The barbarian world is a dangerous place that even I have not been to before. You should be more careful. There are a total of 12 great families in the barbarian world, and each family has a 9th grade barbarian sovereign. Other than the Xueqi family that you met last time, there's also the Rainbow family, Wind, Rain, Thunder, and Lightning families. The Rainbow family is composed of 7 families with the word Woob in front. For example, the Xueqi family, Xueqi family, Wuqing family. Your main target this time is the Xueqi family, so try not to provoke the other families. When you return from the barbarian world, I'm guessing that the barbarian world will launch an attack. At that time, the calamity will be the same as last time. Barbarian experts will descend from every space in the immortal world, not just the sovereign domain. After listening to Jin Qixiao's words, Jiang Chen was shocked. The strength of the barbarian world was much more terrifying than what he had imagined. The Xueqi family was already very powerful. He initially thought that there would only be 3 or 4 families like the Xueqi family, but he never thought that there would be 12 of them. I wonder how many 9th grade great sovereigns there are in the immortal world? Jiang Chen asked. I won't hide it from you. The Golden Clan has a supreme elder, a 9th grade great sovereign. As for the sovereign domain, I'm not too sure. The Golden Clan had already disappeared when the sovereign domain was created. But I'm sure that the number of 9th grade great sovereigns in the immortal world is not as many as the barbarian world. So, Jiang Chen, you need to grow quickly. We don't have much time left. Jin Qixiao patted on Jiang Chen's shoulder and said earnestly, I understand. Jiang Chen nodded and bid farewell to Jin Qixiao. He tore open the spatial passageway to the sovereign domain and disappeared in a flash. Cultivators in the immortal world could sense the existence of the sovereign domain once they reached the great sovereign realm. They could open the spatial passageway and enter the sovereign domain. The great sovereign realm was the basic requirement to enter the sovereign domain. It was easy to enter, but difficult to return. Since the establishment of the sovereign domain, the great sovereigns who entered the sovereign domain were not allowed to return. Yang Junlong was a good example. When the great Qian Empire was in trouble, Yang Junlong only sent a clone. Sovereign domain. Quicksand City. This was the border of the sovereign domain. It was peaceful as always. The first place that Jiang Chen came to was the Quicksand City. In order to save De Huang Dog, Yang Junlong risked his life to follow them into the desolate ancient land. Now that he came to Quicksand City again, Jiang Chen felt that it was necessary to pay a visit to this senior. 2 first-grade great sovereign elders were guarding the gate of Quicksand City. When they saw someone approaching, they immediately went forward to stop him. Aren't you the young man who came with Lord last time? Why are you here again? Yes, I remember you too. But you were just an immortal venerable at that time. I didn't expect that you have already reached the great sovereign realm in such a short time. Both of them said. As great sovereigns, their memory was incomparably terrifying. Even though they had only met once, Jiang Chen had already left a deep impression on them. After all, the people they met in this hell were all great sovereigns. They would naturally remember someone who wasn't a great sovereign when he suddenly appeared. I'm here to see Senior Yang. Jiang Chen smiled at them. Whoosh! As soon as Jiang Chen's voice faded, a light figure rushed out of Quicksand City and landed beside Jiang Chen in a blink. Who else could it be if it wasn't Yang Junlong? The current Yang Junlong had already reached the 7th grade Great Sovereign Realm, which was a level higher than before. When he sensed the arrival of Jiang Chen, he immediately came out. Jiang Chen wasn't surprised that Yang Junlong was at the same level as his substitute. A person like Yang Junlong had a limitless future. Jiang Chen wasn't surprised, but Yang Junlong was shocked. He stared at Jiang Chen with wide eyes, as if he had seen a ghost. Senior, why are you looking at me like that? Jiang Chen rolled his eyes. Kid, you're really heaven-defying. 3rd grade Great Sovereign? How long has it been? Yang Junlong was speechless. He rarely admired someone, but Jiang Chen was definitely the most heaven-defying and abnormal genius he had ever seen. By the way, you must have something to do in Sovereign Domain this time, right? Asked Yang Junlong. He knew Jiang Chen very well. Jiang Chen wouldn't come to Sovereign Domain so quickly if it wasn't for something important. After all, 3rd grade Great Sovereigns hadn't reached the point where they had to come to Sovereign Domain. I'm here to save Ling Er, said Jiang Chen. You mean the little girl with the complete barbarian god bloodline? Yang Juanlong's expression changed. He remembered Xueqi very clearly. If it wasn't for her, he wouldn't be able to stand here and talk. That's right. I have a premonition that Ling is in danger, so I have to save her. Jiang Chen said. What's your plan? Ling is in the barbarian world, in the Wuka family. How are you going to save her? Chapter 2068. I plan to sneak into the barbarian world and infiltrate the Wuka family. Jiang Chen said. No way. Yang Junlong rejected on the spot. Jiang Chen, you're not a fool. You've seen the strength of the Wuka family. Not to mention you, even a 9th grade great sovereign won't be able to save Ling Ling. Moreover, your aura is very obvious. It's completely different from the barbarian race's aura. You'll be easily recognized. I have my own ways to deal with this, but Ling must be saved. We have to risk it all. I didn't come here to discuss this with you. I just came to see you. Jiang Chen said in a firm tone, leaving no room for consideration. Jiang Chen, this matter needs further consideration. Why don't I meet the 8 great domain lords and discuss countermeasures? Yang Junlong said. He knew Jiang Chen's character very well. Jiang Chen was a man of his words. It's hard to change a decision that has already been made. He had already experienced this when he saved De Huang Dog. Jiang Chen was willing to sacrifice everything, and even his own life to save his friend. 8 great domain lords? Jiang Chen asked. The domain lords who control the sovereign domain. They're all 9th grade great sovereigns. The barbarian god bloodline is very important. We'll talk to the domain lords. They'll definitely pay attention to it. Yang Junlong said. It seems like Scarlet Heaven Great Sovereign is right. The number of 9th grade great sovereigns in the immortal world is not as many as the barbarian world. Jiang Chen thought. Scarlet Heaven Great Sovereign had told him before. Although he didn't understand the situation in the sovereign domain, he was sure that the number of 9th grade great sovereigns in the immortal world was less than the barbarian world. From Yang Juanlong's words, there should be 8 9th grade great sovereigns in the sovereign domain. Including the supreme elder of the Golden Clan, there's only 9 of them, while the barbarian world has 12. Although it's only a difference of 3, when the difference increases to the number of 9th grade great sovereigns, not to mention 3, even 1 would be a huge difference that could change the situation. Jiang Chen could imagine how terrifying the coming catastrophe would be. For the immortal world, it might be the end of the world. Thinking of this, Jiang Chen was even more eager to improve his strength. With his current situation, he could only rely on the Zulong Tower to quickly improve his cultivation. The good thing was that the barbarians of the barbarian world were nourishment for the Zulong Tower. In other words, if Jiang Chen wanted to improve his cultivation quickly, he would have to wait for the calamity to descend and improve his cultivation during the calamity. Senior, I'm afraid that Ling would have been sent to the altar by the time the 8 domain lords make their decision. Plus, you've said it before, even a 9th grade great sovereign might not be able to rescue Ling from the Wuka family. I'm more confident if I go alone. As for the qi problem you mentioned, I have my own way to solve it. Jiang Chen said and waved his hand towards the void, cutting a big hole in the void. A cold qi came out from the hole. It was the spatial zone that led to the desolate ancient land. All right, Jiang Chen, I know that I can't change your decision. I also know that you have heaven-defying abilities and can create miracles, but this time is different from the past. No matter what, you have to be careful and put your life first. Yang Junlong sighed helplessly when he saw that he couldn't stop Jiang Chen. As a matter of fact, Jiang Chen's fearlessness and indomitable will was what Yang Junlong admired about Jiang Chen. Don't worry, Senior. There have been many people who wanted my life, but I'm still alive and well. Jiang Chen smiled, then clasped his fists at Yang Junlong and entered the desolate ancient land in a flash. The desolate ancient land was a spatial zone that connected the sovereign domain and the barbarian world. In fact, it belonged to the barbarian world's sovereign domain. The entire spatial zone was filled with an ancient and gloomy qi. Barbaric and murderous qi drifted everywhere. After entering the spatial zone, Jiang Chen flew towards the barbarian world with ease. Soon, Jiang Chen entered the depths of the desolate ancient land. He found that the barbaric qi here was the same as the last time he came here. It was very strong. Rumble. A fierce battle took place in front of him. Even from a distance, Jiang Chen could see a group of barbarian race fighting fiercely. The barbarian world has come here to train again. Jiang Chen frowned, but he quickly understood. Because the barbarian world was going to launch an attack on the immortal world, they would hold a training session every once in a while. The purpose was to temper themselves. Even Jiang Chen had to admit that the training in the barbarian world was cruel. Once the two sides met, it would be a life-and-death battle. However, such training could really improve the overall strength of the barbarian world, making the already cruel barbarian race even more bloodthirsty and crazy. After experiencing this life-and-death training, the advantage of the barbarian race would be fully displayed on the battlefield in the future. At that time, the gap between the human race and the barbarian race would be widened. It was imaginable that if the human race and the barbarian race of the same level were to fight one-on-one, the human race would have no chance of winning if they didn't have the element to suppress the barbarian race. Jiang Chen sighed. He was really worried about the upcoming catastrophe. Jiang Chen spread out his soul power and found that the scale of this training was much larger than the last time. However, the strongest cultivator was only a half-step sovereign. Such a scale posed no threat to Jiang Chen. Swish! Jiang Chen executed the Great Void technique and appeared at different places like a ghost. Not far ahead, a barbarian was left alone. Jiang Chen rushed forward and grabbed the barbarian's neck. His powerful qi instantly shrouded the barbarian. "Don't speak if you don't want to die." Jiang Chen's voice was incomparably cold. Although the barbarian was a late immortal venerable, how could he be a match for Jiang Chen? In front of Jiang Chen, he was simply an ant. You're a human?" The barbarian looked at Jiang Chen and said in a trembling voice. "Let me tell you, which family are you from?" Jiang Chen asked, ignoring the barbarian's question. "Xueqi family." The barbarian said honestly. "Where are the people of Xueqi family?" Jiang Chen continued to ask. "I don't know. The 12 major families are training at the same time and they're all mixed together. However, I just escaped from a few people of Xueqi family." The barbarian said. "Where are they?" Jiang Chen said. "Over there." The barbarian pointed with his finger. "Pah!" Jiang Chen exerted strength in his palm and slapped the barbarian into pieces. He wasn't going to be polite to the barbarians and there was no such thing as trust. Swoosh! Jiang Chen's speed was extremely fast as he headed towards the direction pointed by the barbarian. Not long after, he found 3 barbarians in a valley. The 3 of them were looking for something. Suddenly, 2 rays of light flashed and pierced through the heads of 2 of them. Their heads exploded on the spot and they died miserably on the ground. Whew! Chapter 2069. A mountain-like pressure came, causing the man's face to turn pale. Even with his half-step monarch cultivation base, he couldn't move at all. "Answer whatever I ask you, or you'll die a horrible death." The white-robed man's tone was extremely cold. The white-robed man who suddenly appeared was Jiang Chen. "You're a human, yet you dare to sneak into the desolate ancient land. You're courting death. I, Xueqi Shan, will never yield to you humans. It won't be long before our barbarian world army invades the immortal world and plunge it into misery." Even though the man was completely suppressed by Jiang Chen, his tone was still filled with the pride of the barbarian race. In their hearts, their barbarian race's bloodline was supreme, much nobler than humans. Boom! Jiang Chen didn't waste any time talking to Xueqi Shan. He waved his hand and a wave of fire instantly engulfed Xueqi Shan. Arg! Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream was heard. There was an insurmountable gap between Xueqi Shan and Jiang Chen. Plus, Jiang Chen's flames were extremely effective against the barbarian race. They were like the natural enemy of the barbarian race. The flames could burn Xueqi Shan's soul, causing him to be in excruciating pain. "There's a limit to my patience. You'd better not challenge me," Jiang Chen said coldly. He wouldn't show any mercy to the barbarian race. If it wasn't because he wanted to know about Zueling, from this Xueqi Shan would have been a dead man by now. The pain of the flames burning his soul made Xueqi Shan wish he was dead. Under such pain, he had no choice but to surrender. "I say, what do you want to know?" Xueqi Shan said. "Voila!" Jiang Chen grabbed the flames back into his body and said, "Let me ask you, where is Xueqi now? Did she come to the desolate ancient land? The saintess has become a great monarch not long ago. She won't appear in the desolate ancient land. 3 days later, the old ancestor of our Xueqi family will conduct a blood sacrifice to extract the barbarian god's bloodline from the saintess. Wuka Shan didn't dare to hide anything and told him everything he knew. Jiang Chen's expression instantly changed when he heard that. His guess was right. Xueqi had already advanced to the great sovereign realm. The old ancestor of Wuka family has begun to take action. Once Xueqi's bloodline is extracted, she'll surely end up in a miserable state. Moreover, the barbarian god's bloodline falling into the hands of a great sovereign of the barbarian race would surely be disastrous for the immortal world. When will your training end? Jiang Chen continued to ask. Time was running out. He had to sneak into the barbarian world and the Wuka family as soon as possible. There were still 3 days left before Xueqi's blood sacrifice. Jiang Chen had to rescue Xueqi no matter what. If anything were to happen to Xueqi, Jiang Chen would blame himself for eternity. It'll end tomorrow. I've told you everything you asked. Can you spare my life? Wuka Shan said. His eyes were filled with terror and fear. Pah! Jiang Chen slapped Wuka Shan's head. He already knew what he wanted to know. There's no point in keeping Wuka Shan alive. If he didn't kill Wuka Shan, someone might die in Wuka Shan's hands when the barbarian world's army attacked the immortal world. Then, Jiang Chen's face twisted and turned into Wuka Shan's appearance. Even his bones had changed, becoming the same as Wuka Shan. Jiang Chen casted the Zulong Tower and absorbed all of Wuka Shan's barbarian qi. The barbarian qi was not refined by the Zulong Tower, but was used by Jiang Chen to disguise himself. With the barbarian qi covering him, Jiang Chen had completely turned into Wuka Shan. Whether it was his appearance, physique or the special barbarian qi, everything was exactly the same. This was Jiang Chen's unique technique. He had used it before. However, the duration of this transformation was limited. Even though he was a third-grade great sovereign now, he could only maintain it for 3 to 5 days at most. At that time, his true form would be revealed. However, 3 to 5 days was enough for Jiang Chen. With his current appearance, even if Wuka Shan's most familiar person was standing here, they wouldn't be able to notice him. Jiang Chen had changed into Wuka Shan's appearance. After the training ends tomorrow, he would be able to successfully sneak into the Wuka family. The only regret he had towards Jiang Chen was that he didn't know Wuka Shan's memories. In other words, Jiang Chen only had the appearance of Wuka Shan, but he didn't know anything about Wuka Shan's memories of the Wuka family. However, Jiang Chen was sure that Wuka Shan must be a famous genius of the Wuka family. Of course, this genius was only relative to those below the great sovereign realm. After all, Wuka Shan's cultivation base was already at the peak of the half-step sovereign realm. Perhaps it wasn't much in the entire Wuka family, but to the barbarian race participating in the desolate ancient land, he was absolutely at the top. He was almost the representative of the Wuka family. After killing Wuka Shan, Jiang Chen's body vanished in a flash, flying towards the depths of the desolate ancient land. Since this was a training in the barbarian world, he would make use of Wuka Shan's identity to wreak havoc. At the very least, he would cause some damage to the barbarian world. Otherwise, wouldn't this trip be in vain? In front of him, on a desolate black mountain, there was a battle going on. Jiang Chen looked over and saw at least 30 people fighting fiercely. All of them were immortal venerables and 3 half-step sovereigns. These people were wearing clothes of 3 different colors. In addition to the symbols embroidered on their chests, Jiang Chen could tell that they were from 3 different families. One of them was wearing black clothes, one was wearing purple clothes, and the last one was wearing yellow clothes. The black clothes represented the Wuka family. According to the Scarlet Heaven Great Emperor, the purple clothes represented the Wuzi family, and the yellow clothes represented the Wu Huang family. At this moment, the 3 parties were fighting over a large pale gray stone. The stone was as tall as a human and contained a powerful energy. Jiang Chen could tell that this was an energy treasure that was useful to the barbarian race, just like the primordial stones of the immortal world. Moreover, it was a supreme grade item, which was why it was being fought over. Moreover, the training of the barbarian race was incomparably cruel. As long as the desolate ancient land was opened, the people who came here to train would engage in a life-and-death battle the moment they met. There were a lot of people in the barbarian race. Survival of the fittest had always been the rule that made the barbarian race so terrifying. The Wuzi family and the Wu Huang family decided to join forces after a short battle. 20 of them surrounded a dozen people from the Wuka family, causing quite a number of casualties to the Wuka family. Jiang Chen saw all of this, but he wasn't in a hurry to act. He wanted to let these people kill each other for a while, Then he would act to save 1 or 2 people from the Wuka family. He was going to infiltrate the Wuka family tomorrow. So even if he was unwilling, he still had to do something for the Wuka family. Chapter 2070. Rumble. Intense battle sounds were accompanied by miserable shrieks. Under the situation where both sides joined forces, the Wuka family had lost half of their men in just a few minutes. The remaining half were either lightly or heavily injured. Haha, Wuka Hong, you guys are done for. An expert from the Wuzi family laughed out loud, as if he had the upper hand. The young man named Wuka Hong was the leader of the Wuka family. He possessed the cultivation of a peak half-step emperor. However, his aura was chaotic and his expression was ugly as he fought against 2 enemies at the same time. Seeing that half of the Wuka family's men were killed, Jiang Chen, who was not far away, was ready to take action. Wuzi family. Wu Huang family. How dare you join forces to attack our Wuka family? You guys are courting death. At this moment, a loud shout was heard from afar. Everyone looked towards the source of the voice and saw a black-clothed Wuka Shan charging towards them. Brother Shan. Seeing Wuka Shan's sudden appearance, the people of the Wuka family immediately revealed a joyful expression. No matter what, Wuka Shan was still a half-step emperor expert. His appearance at this crucial moment gave hope to the people who were already in despair. Great! Another one who's seeking death. Wuka Shan, today is the day to settle the grudge between us. Seeing the newcomer, the 2 half-step emperors from the Wuzi family and Wu Huang family immediately said Lang Lang. Jiang Chen did not know the half-step emperor genius from the Wu Huang family, but judging from the other party's attitude towards him, Wuka Shan must have some grudges with this guy. Humph. You guys want to kill me? You guys are courting death. Jiang Chen harumphed coldly and took the initiative to attack. He struck out a terrifying black wave that instantly enveloped the half-step emperor genius from the Wu Huang family. At the same time, Jiang Chen's speed was extremely fast. In a blink of an eye, he arrived in front of the half-step emperor genius from the Wu Huang family. An intense aura of danger instantly rose from the bottom of that person's heart. It was an extremely dangerous aura that threatened his life. That person cursed inwardly. He didn't expect that Wuka Shan, who was originally on par with him, would suddenly become so powerful. But at this moment, it was too late to think about it, because Jiang Chen's attack had already arrived. Carrying a black wave of qi, the palm clasped on that person's head. With a bang, that person's head directly exploded, and he died on the spot. What? The half-step sovereign from the Wuzi family exclaimed on the spot. He looked at Wuka Shan as if he was looking at a ghost. His eyes were filled with shock. Killing a half-step sovereign as soon as he arrived was too shocking. Most importantly, Wuka Shan was a half-step sovereign himself. His cultivation and battle strength were on par with them. They fought against each other more than once. Therefore, they couldn't accept the fact that Wuka Shan had suddenly become so powerful. Humph! Let's die together. However, Jiang Chen didn't stop there. His terrifying qi completely locked onto the prodigy of the Wuzi family, not giving him any chance to escape. He pointed out with his finger. His finger was like the sharpest sword, piercing through the prodigy's head, killing him on the spot. In an instant, Jiang Chen killed 2 half-step sovereigns. Both sides couldn't even withstand a single move from him. Such a shocking scene was simply too shocking. For a moment, everyone at the scene had their mouths wide open. Even the people from the Wuka family were the same. They were even more shocked than their opponents. Because they were all from the Wuka family, they understood Wuka Shan's strength better. Even though Wuka Shan was an outstanding young genius of the Wuka family, he wasn't this powerful. Killing 2 people in an instant was simply too ridiculous. What are you guys standing there for? Kill them! Jiang Chen shouted at the dazed Wuka Hong and the others. Then, he took out a battle sword that was filled with brute force out of nowhere. The terrifying combat sword swept across. Immediately, wails filled the sky. At least 7 or 8 of them died under his sword. Given Jiang Chen's strength, killing these immortal venerables was as easy as crushing a few ants to him. Kill! Wuka Hong shouted and led the remaining 4 members of the Wuka family to attack. Now wasn't the time to be shocked by Wuka Shan's sudden increase in power. The most important thing right now was to kill the enemies and avenge the deaths of their clansmen. Arg! Screams filled the air. In just a few breaths' time, all the members of the Wuzi and Wu Huang families were killed, without a single one of them left. Looking at the corpses on the ground, Jiang Chen's face was emotionless. Killing these barbarians wouldn't affect him in the slightest. These people were the enemies of the immortal world. The death of each one of them would reduce the pressure on the immortal world. Brother Shan, how did you become so powerful all of a sudden? Wukahong looked at Wukashan in disbelief. Wukahong, I have already advanced to the great sovereign realm. Killing them is as easy as killing ants. Jiang Chen glanced at Wukahong and said coldly. He knew Wukahong's name from their previous conversation, so he wouldn't call him wrongly. After that, Jiang Chen made a grabbing motion and kept the huge rock. No matter what kind of special energy was contained in the rock, Jiang Chen would be able to absorb it. Wukahong and the others didn't have any objection when they saw Jiang Chen keeping the rock. After all, Jiang Chen had just saved their lives. Plus, Jiang Chen was one of them, and he had just advanced to the great sovereign realm. His status wasn't something they could compare with. The barbarian race had a strict hierarchy. Great sovereigns were high and mighty. Half-step sovereigns and great sovereigns were two completely different concepts. After Wukashan became a great sovereign, he was qualified to join the higher-ups of the Wuka family. Congratulations, Brother Shan, for becoming a barbarian sovereign. Brother Shan is too powerful. You must have had some kind of fortuitous encounter in the desolate ancient land and became a great sovereign. From now on, your status in the family will skyrocket. We still need to rely on Brother Shan's guidance in the future. That's right. We will follow Brother Shan everywhere in the future. The few of them started to flatter Jiang Chen. They didn't doubt Jiang Chen's identity at all. This was normal. Jiang Chen's disguise was too powerful. Whether it was his appearance, voice or aura, they were exactly the same as Wukashan. No one would suspect anything. That's easy. But the training will only end tomorrow. Since the Wuzi family and Wuhuang family dared to gang up against us today, we will focus on killing the people of the Wuzi family and Wuhuang family to avenge our dead clansmen. Jiang Chen's aura fluctuated and said, All right, Brother Shan is right. Damn it. The Wuzi family and Wuhuang family are too despicable. We must not let them go. We must let them know how powerful we are. Chapter 2071. In the following period of time, the people of the Wuka family, under the lead of Jiang Chen, slaughtered the geniuses of the Wuzi and Wuhuang families. After a day, all the geniuses in the desolate ancient land were terrified of Wuka Shan's name, especially the Wuhuang and Wuzi families. Nearly 1,000 of their experts died in the hands of Wuka Shan. This was the first time such a massacre had happened in the desolate ancient land. Jiang Chen's actions had undoubtedly deepened the conflict between the Wuhuang and Wuzi families. And this was exactly what Jiang Chen wanted to see. The barbarian world would soon attack the immortal world. If he could stir up an internal conflict in the barbarian world, it would undoubtedly be a good thing for the immortal world. The training is about to end. Damn it. This training is so stressful. A freak appeared in the Wuka family, killing people everywhere. Seriously suicidal. Alright, let's not talk about it anymore. No one expected Wuka Shan's sudden rise. Luckily, he's only targeting the Wuzi and Wuhuang families. We'll be fine as long as we don't provoke him. Yeah, the Wuhuang and Wuzi families have suffered a great loss this time. So many geniuses have died. I wonder if the two families will let this go after the training is over. Many people were discussing. Wuka Shan's name had become the focal point. Before this, Wuka Shan was only a decent genius. He wasn't famous among the geniuses in the barbarian world. But after this training in the desolate ancient land, Wuka Shan immediately became an existence like the sun in the sky. The training was about to end. Almost all the participants had stopped killing and arrived at a vast flat land. Not long after, a passage would be opened. They would then leave this place and return to their families. The 12 families of the barbarian world were divided into 12 camps. No matter what kind of massacre happened before, everyone had stopped and were waiting for the opening of the passage. This was also the process of training. Those who died before were already dead, which only meant that they were not strong enough. Now that the training was over, all killing would automatically stop. The faces of the Wuzi and Wuhuang families turned pale. Their numbers were obviously much lesser than the other families. This was all because of Wuka Shan's sudden rise. Suddenly, dozens of Wuka family's experts came from afar. The one leading them was none other than Jiang Chen's transformed Wuka Shan. Those who followed behind Wuka were also filled with an imposing manner. Their faces were filled with unconcealable arrogance. They looked at Wuka with eyes filled with admiration. They had been following Jiang Chen to kill all the enemies for the past few days. Today was the best day they've ever had after training for so long. Look, it's Wuka. That fella has become too ferocious after becoming a great monarch. Yeah, his methods are extremely brutal. He'll definitely be valued by the Wuka family when he returns this time. He might even be heavily nurtured. Of course. He was so cruel to us barbarians, so when we attack the immortal world in the future, he'll definitely be even more cruel. He'll be the main force. Seeing that Jiang Chen had arrived, everyone's gazes immediately focused on him. No matter what, Wuka had become a real celebrity today. Wuka, stop. At this moment, a loud shout was heard. Everyone saw two incomparably majestic fellows walking out and standing in front of Wuka. The two of them were first-grade barbarian sovereigns. They were from the Wuzi and Wuhuang families. Just like Wuka, they had also become barbarian sovereigns during this training. At this moment, the two of them were filled with killing intent. It seemed like they were not going to let this matter rest. If it was in the past, the training would have ended and no more battles and killings were allowed. But this time, the situation was different. The Wuzi and Wuhuang families had suffered a great loss and lost their faces. As the great monarchs of the two families, it would be inexcusable if they didn't regain some of their faces. Brother Shan, what should we do? Wuka asked. His admiration for Wuka had reached its peak. You guys go first. I'll deal with them. Jiang Chen said. Be careful, Brother Shan. Wuka waved his hand and led the people of the Wuka family to stand in front of the camp of the Wuka family. Their faces were still filled with arrogance. Every one of them had unparalleled confidence in Jiang Chen. They had seen too much of Jiang Chen's fierceness today. You two better not attack me. Otherwise, you'll die miserably. Jiang Chen said to the two people in front of him. Cut the crap. Wuka, you've already become a barbarian sovereign. According to the rules, you're not allowed to attack those below the barbarian sovereign realm. But not only did you attack us, you've also killed so many of our people. We must settle this debt with you. The genius of the Wuhuang family said loudly. Who do you think you are? How dare you clamor in front of me? You're courting death. Jiang Chen did not say anything. His aura fluctuated and a big black hand was suddenly stretched out, slapping towards the first-grade barbarian sovereign. What? That person exclaimed. He did not expect Yi Chen to attack so suddenly. Moreover, it was such a terrifying attack. Just this attack alone had made him feel a real sense of danger. The genius of the Wuhuang family shouted and counterattacked with a strong chi wave, clashing with Jiang Chen's attack. Rumble. Arg. The genius attack was completely vulnerable under the pressure of Jiang Chen's palm. It was easily destroyed. After that, the genius let out a blood-curdling screech. One of his arms was torn off by Jiang Chen and blood was spurting out from his mouth. What? Everyone exclaimed. The scene in front of them was too shocking. They were all first-grade barbarian sovereigns, but Wuka-shan's strength was terrifying. Hoo-hoo. Violent chi wave and pressure spread out from Jiang Chen's body, emitting the aura of a second-grade barbarian sovereign. Look, Wuka is a second-grade barbarian sovereign, not a first-grade. What kind of fortuitous encounter did this guy have to become a second-grade barbarian sovereign? No wonder he's so powerful. He's actually a second-grade barbarian sovereign. He's a true genius. Countless people could not control their emotions anymore. The gap between a second-grade barbarian sovereign and a first-grade barbarian sovereign was not small. Jiang Chen purposely released the cultivation of a second-grade barbarian sovereign because he was too powerful. This way, he would not arouse too much suspicion. Otherwise, everyone would wonder why Wuka became so heaven-defying all of a sudden and could kill the same level as him in an instant. If this was the case, people would associate it with Wuka-shan's talent in the past and be suspicious. Chapter 2072. Without hesitation, Jiang Chen struck again. A giant black palm instantly enveloped the one-armed genius. The giant black palm was like a mountain of death pressing down on him. Under everyone's horrified eyes, the genius of the Wuhuang family let out another blood-curdling scream before he was smashed into pieces by Jiang Chen's palm. Boom, boom, boom. Hua, this scene immediately caused a huge commotion. Countless gazes fell onto Jiang Chen. They never thought that Wu Kashan would suddenly become so ferocious, killing without showing any mercy to Jiang Chen. Edited by Lifer. Fingerfox. It was normal for him to kill the genius as it had always been the training method of the barbarian race. However, according to the rules, killing should be stopped at this time. Wu Kashan's action was equivalent to disregarding the rules. He was too daring. Wu Kashan, you're crazy. You still want to kill at this time? The genius of the Wuzi family was terrified, but he still pointed at Jiang Chen and scolded loudly. You guys were the ones who wanted to kill me first. If you want to talk about breaking the rules, it's you guys. Since you guys dared to attack me, Wu Kashan, only death awaits you. If he dies, you'll die as well. Jiang Chen was extremely ferocious. As soon as his voice faded, he appeared in front of the genius of the Wuzi family. His terrifying black palm struck towards the genius again. After a day of contact, Jiang Chen had completely understood the rules of the barbarian race. At this time, the geniuses of the 12 great families were all gathered here. In fact, they were waiting for the opening of the desolate ancient land, which meant that the training had already ended. At this time, killing was not allowed. Otherwise, the situation would be out of control and the barbarian world would suffer a great loss. Jiang Chen did not intend to attack at first, but these two first-grade barbarian sovereigns gave him a chance to attack. There were thousands of eyes on the scene, and they were the ones who attacked first. Therefore, he was not the one who broke the rules. That first-grade barbarian sovereign of the Wuzi family was not a match for Jiang Chen. Under Jiang Chen's powerful attack, he did not even have the chance to dodge and was smashed into powder on the spot. Too ferocious. Too brutal. This scene had frightened everyone on the scene. No one had expected Wu Kashan to be this brutal. His methods were cruel and ruthless. He was simply a devil. Rumble. At this moment, the passage to the desolate ancient land was opened by an extremely tyrannical power. The passage transformed into a gigantic black gate, and Jiang Chen could see the situation inside the barbarian world through the gate. The extremely dense barbarian aura caused people's hearts to tremble, as if they had entered hell. 12 powerful figures descended and went to the camps of their respective clans. It was 12 old men. Each of them was a 6th-grade barbarian sovereign. With such a cultivation realm, they were definitely existences with a high status in the barbarian world. There was no need to think about it. Wu Kashan, how dare you break the rules and kill a genius of my clan? You're courting death. After the old man from the Wuzi family descended, his eyes immediately fell on Jiang Chen. Violent chi waves instantly swept towards Jiang Chen. On the other side, the elder of the Wu Huang family was filled with murderous intent. Obviously, they had witnessed the scene of Jiang Chen killing the two great geniuses when the gateway of the barbarian world was opened. This had infuriated them. After all, it wasn't easy to nurture a young great sovereign. How could they accept the fact that the two geniuses were killed so easily? Boom. The old man from the Wuka family also took action and stood in front of Jiang Chen. Wu Ziying, what are you doing? Aren't you a little too shameless to attack a junior of my Wuka family with your identity? The old man from the Wuka family said loudly. Jiang Chen sneered at the back. He could already see that the barbarian world and the immortal world were the same. There was a great internal strife. It would be a good thing if he could create conflict in the barbarian world before the arrival of the great catastrophe. Wu Kashan broke the rules and killed our geniuses. You should have seen it, right? Wu Ziying said sternly. Nonsense. It was obviously the two of them who broke the rules and wanted to kill Brother Shan. They were killed by Brother Shan because they were not strong enough. Many people here can prove that. Wu Kahong, who was saved by Jiang Chen, stood out and said, That's right. It was the two of them who attacked Wu Kashan first. Someone said, Did you hear that? It seems like it was your people who broke the rules. Wu Kasha said with a sneer. All right. We're going to attack the immortal world soon. It's best to be united at this time. An expert from the Wuqi family said, This matter will not end like this. Wu Kasha, just you wait. Wu Ziying harumphed coldly and left with the people of the Wuzi family. After that, the major forces left one after another and entered the barbarian world. Jiang Chen followed beside Wu Kasha and flew towards the direction of the Wuka family. Although the barbarian world was huge, It was still too small compared to the vast immortal world. Moreover, the cultivation environment and resources here were incomparable to the immortal world. If it wasn't for the fact that the barbarian race possessed a strong bloodline, it would be hard for them to become strong. However, there was one thing that Jiang Chen had to admit. The barbarian world was indeed a very suitable place for the barbarian race to live. Wuka Shan, you've done well this time. You've advanced to second grade Great Sovereign. Your position in the family has also risen. Wuka Sha looked at Jiang Chen and said, "It's all thanks to Elder's nurturing." Jiang Chen said humbly, "The day after tomorrow will be the time to extract the barbarian god bloodline from the Saintess. Once the old ancestor obtains the barbarian god bloodline, our Wuka family will become one of the biggest families in the barbarian world, surpassing the other 11 major families. At that time, we will command the barbarian world to attack the immortal world. Perform well at that time. Your future will be limitless." Wuka Sha said with a smile, seemingly very satisfied with the young man in front of him. "You're right, Elder. After returning to the family, I will immediately go into seclusion to digest what I've gained in the desolate ancient land. At that time, I hope that Elder will not let anyone disturb me." Jiang Chen said, "All right, I'll arrange it. You've become famous in the desolate ancient land. There will surely be many people looking for you when you return to the family. Just go into seclusion and leave the rest to me." Wuka Sha said, "Thank you, Elder." Jiang Chen clasped his fists and said, the reason why he did this was clear. Firstly, he was not familiar with the Wuka family. The more people he met, the easier it would be for him to be exposed. Not meeting anyone was the best choice. More importantly, Jiang Chen wanted to find Xueqi, Er's location secretly. He wanted to bring Xueqi away before the blood sacrifice begins. Chapter 2073. Looking from afar, the Wuka family looked like a giant ancient castle. The sky was filled with grayish mist. The qi in this place wasn't suitable for humans to live in. Even an immortal venerable would feel an imperceptible pressure here. Jiang Chen followed Wuka Sha to the gloomy Wuka family. According to the previous agreement, Jiang Chen chose to go into seclusion. The place where Jiang Chen went into seclusion was arranged after he advanced to the Great Sovereign Realm. To Jiang Chen, this was a good thing because he wouldn't be able to find his previous residence and it would be hard to avoid giving himself away. It was a small enclosed palace. After Jiang Chen entered, he didn't go out again. He only left the palace quietly in the middle of the night. When he came during the day, Jiang Chen had already noticed that the buildings of the Wuka family were complicated. In addition to the fact that they were connected by a mysterious formation, it was like a maze. It was undoubtedly impossible to find Xueqi's location in such a maze. Of course, such an impossible thing was no longer a problem for Jiang Chen. With the great divination art, Jiang Chen had no problem finding Xueqi's location. Jiang Chen circulated the great divination art, but he couldn't find any trace of Xueqi's qi. However, this situation was within Jiang Chen's expectation. Xueqi must be locked up in a very secret place. It would be abnormal if he could sense her qi. However, it didn't matter to Jiang Chen whether he could sense Xueqi's qi or not. The mystical great divination art was far beyond any ordinary technique. Even without Xueqi's qi as a guide, it wouldn't be a problem for him to determine Xueqi's approximate location. Wang Wang. The great divination art emitted a buzzing sound. Jiang Chen was able to determine Xueqi's approximate location very quickly. He immediately casted the Great Void technique and flew towards that direction. Jiang Chen turned into a black specter and kept appearing in different places of the Wuka family. Perhaps only Jiang Chen could move around the core of the Wuka family without being discovered. As a third-grade Great Sovereign, Jiang Chen could go anywhere in the world with the help of the Great Void technique. Even an 8th-grade Great Sovereign wouldn't be able to track him down. Very quickly, Jiang Chen arrived at the center of the Wuka family. There was a huge black altar in the middle of the square. The altar was filled with a barbaric aura. There were many complicated runes carved on it. At the top of the altar was a huge cross. On top of the cross, there was a ferocious portrait of the barbarian god. Standing below the altar, one would feel an immense pressure that came from the depths of the altar. It was so oppressive that even one's soul would tremble. Ling is inside this altar. Jiang Chen determines Xueqi's exact location. But he couldn't help but frown his brows. Because it was too difficult to enter the altar and save Xueling. Jiang Chen could feel that there was a powerful seal placed by a 9th-grade barbarian sovereign outside the altar. Not to mention going through the seal, the 9th-grade barbarian sovereign would immediately notice him if he touched the seal. At that time, not to mention saving Xueling, it would be good if he could escape. However, Xueling must be saved. Moreover, this was the best time to do so. If he waited until the next day, it would be almost impossible to snatch Xueling away from the hands of the old ancestor of the Xueqi family. Even if he had the gold feather fan. The gold feather fan could only cast a single attack from a golden sovereign. Even if this attack could injure a 9th-grade barbarian sovereign, it would only injure him. It was impossible to kill him. At that time, he would fall into the lion's den and be besieged by countless experts of the Xueqi family. The best result would be him escaping with the Great Void technique, but Xueling's fate would still be unchangeable. Zulong Tower, I can only rely on you now. Jiang Chen's eyes lit up. At this time, the only thing he could rely on was the Zulong Tower. The Zulong Tower had now reached the 66th floor. It was no longer the same as before. Jiang Chen had once used the Zulong Tower to snatch the regenerative lotus. Now that the Zulong Tower had grown stronger, he believed that it wouldn't be a problem for him to enter the altar with the help of the Zulong Tower. Jiang Chen's body flashed and entered the Zulong Tower. The shapeless Zulong Tower was like a speck of dust in the void. No one would be able to notice him if he moved around casually. The only pity was that he couldn't move fast in the Zulong Tower. It was like he was moving forward with a huge mountain on his back. Soon, the Zulong Tower was approaching the altar. Jiang Chen became nervous. After all, this was a seal laid down by a 9th-grade barbarian sovereign. He didn't know if the Zulong Tower could be passed through successfully. If it couldn't, everything would be in vain. Let's take a gamble. Jiang Chen gritted his teeth. At this time, he must take a gamble. Xueling's life must be saved. This was his only chance. Whoosh! When the Zulong Tower came into contact with the seal, it passed through without any hindrance. In the next moment, it appeared in the inner space of the altar. This scene obviously caught Jiang Chen off guard, but it didn't affect the joy in his heart. At the same time, he understood that the 66th floor of the ancestral dragon pagoda was powerful enough to pass through anything. Even the seal of a 9th-grade barbarian sovereign wouldn't be a problem. Looks like I've been worrying too much. I wonder what's the situation after the 99th floor of the Zulong Tower? I'm really looking forward to it. Jiang Chen was happy. At the same time, he was looking forward to the Zulong Tower even more. The inner space of the altar was a circular prison. The prison was connected to the top of the altar. At this moment, Xueling was sitting in the prison. Her eyes were closed and her face was indifferent. She wasn't as scared as he imagined. The more she was like this, the more distressed Jiang Chen felt. Xueling didn't know fear anymore. This meant that she had experienced a lot in the barbarian world. These experiences had changed Xueling's temperament. This process was usually unpleasant. Jiang Chen's body flashed and jumped out of the Zulong Tower. He called out softly, Ling. This call made Xueling's body tremble. She opened her eyes and when she saw Jiang Chen, she fell into a state of endless shock. Big brother. Xueling jumped up and threw herself into Jiang Chen's arms. Her tears fell like rain. It was an indescribable joy. It was a ray of light under endless despair. Xueling had dreamt that Jiang Chen would appear in front of her at the last moment. But it was just a dream. She knew that it was an extravagant hope. Because even if Jiang Chen came, he wouldn't be able to change the truth. He wouldn't be able to save her. But she still longed for it. Chapter 2074. Big Brother, how did you find this place? There's a seal placed by a 9th-grade barbarian sovereign outside the altar. How did you get in? Xueling couldn't help but ask in surprise. I guess that you might have reached the great monarch realm. I was worried about your safety, so I entered the desolate ancient land again. Coincidentally, I bumped into the barbarian tribe training again. I killed Xueqi Shan of the Xueqi family and changed into his appearance to sneak into the Xueqi family. As for this altar, I have my own way to enter. Jiang Chen said with a smile. He had returned to his original appearance, so Xueling could recognize him at first glance. But Big Brother, this is too dangerous. You should leave by yourself. Ling Er's life is like this. I can't let big brother die because of me. Xueling left Jiang Chen's embrace and said seriously. She was very happy now. Jiang Chen risked his life to come to the Wuka family to save her. This made Xueling very happy. She would be satisfied even if she were to die on the altar tomorrow. Silly girl, what are you talking about? Listen to me. Hide in the Zulong Tower and I'll bring you out of here. Jiang Chen said. No. The old ancestor of the Wuka family will sense me once I leave the altar. The entire Wuka family is a sealed space. It's impossible for you to escape with your third-grade great sovereign strength. Xueling shook her head immediately. Jiang Chen couldn't help but frown after hearing this. It seemed impossible to bring Xueling away quietly. Just like what Xueling said, once she leaves the altar, she'll be discovered immediately. With the Wuka family's reaction speed, he wouldn't be able to escape unscathed even with the help of the Zulong Tower and the Great Void technique. Big brother, you should leave. Ling can't harm you. Xueling said. Little girl, what kind of person do you think Big Brother is? I, Jiang Chen, have done too many dangerous things in my life, but I'm still alive now. There have been many people who wanted to kill me, but how many of them succeeded? Just do as I say and leave the rest to me. I have my own way to leave the barbarian world. You should know that your big brother never does things that he is not confident in. As Jiang Chen spoke, he directly opened the door of the Zulong Tower. In reality, this time, he really didn't have the confidence. But sometimes, he had to take a gamble. If he didn't, he wouldn't have a chance. If he did, he might still have a chance. Moreover, since Jiang Chen was here, it was impossible for him to return empty-handed. Big brother. Xueling looked at Jiang Chen's determined face, and her heart was filled with warmth. Come on, trust me. Jiang Chen smiled. Yes. Xueling nodded and entered the Zulong Tower. Of course, she trusted Jiang Chen. If there was one person in this world that could make her trust him without caring about anything, that could make her put her life in his hands, that person would definitely be Jiang Chen. Just like what Jiang Chen had said, he had created too many miracles in his life. All along, there had been too many people who wanted to kill Jiang Chen, but Jiang Chen was still alive and well. Just as Xueling entered the Zulong Tower, an incomparably powerful aura instantly rushed out from the Wuka family. Then, a black wave rushed out and turned into an old man holding a walking stick. The old man's cultivation base was extremely powerful, almost standing at the peak of this world. His powerful aura filled the sky above the Wuka family, causing people to tremble in fear. Old ancestor, what happened? The patriarch of the Wuka family, Wuka Manjun, appeared as well. The appearance of the old ancestor had instantly startled everyone in the Wuka family. One after another, powerful figures flew out from different places. Now that the blood sacrifice was about to begin, something that could attract the old ancestor's attention was definitely not a small matter. Someone entered the altar and attempted to take the saintess away. Seal the entire family immediately. Old ancestor Wuka said with an incomparably cold voice. At that moment, the aura that he left on Xueling Er's body disappeared. It was completely blocked, shocking him. That's why he came out immediately. Just as ancestor Wuka finished his sentence, a golden light shot out from the altar. The golden light was incomparably dazzling and contained a boundless amount of power. It was enough to destroy everything in its path. Under the impact of the golden light, the entire altar collapsed with a loud bang. Rumble. The enormous altar turned into ruins. Black smoke rumbled, and the golden light turned into a blood-colored dragon man. Jiang Chen knew that he had been exposed the moment Xueling entered the Zulong Tower. If that was the case, there was no need for him to hide anymore. Since Xueling had been successfully rescued, the next step was to find a way to leave the Wuka family. It's someone from the immortal world. How did he break into our family? Damned humans! How dare they destroy our symbolic sacrificial altar? Damn it! Kill him! The saintess is in his hands. Countless experts instantly surrounded Jiang Chen. Every one of them was filled with murderous intent as they looked at Jiang Chen, gritting their teeth in hatred. The altar was something that had been passed down in the Wuka family for a long time. It was the symbol of the Wuka family, carrying their faith. Now that an uninvited guest had destroyed the altar, it was equivalent to destroying their faith. How could they accept this? Old ancestor Wuka and Wuka Manjun fixed their eyes on Jiang Chen. Their eyes were filled with shock because they did not know how this human from the immortal world managed to sneak into the Wuka family. It was impossible to hide such an aura that was completely different from the barbarian race. He should have been discovered the moment he entered the Wuka family. What made old ancestor Wuka even more shocked was that this human was able to sneak into the altar without him noticing. Even he, a 9th-grade barbarian sovereign, could not figure out how this human could do it. Damned human! Leave your life here. A 4th-grade barbarian sovereign immediately took action. He was holding a black barbarian blade in his hand and appeared in front of Jiang Chen in the blink of an eye. With a slash of his blade, black flames burst out and the void was split into 2 halves. A terrifying murderous aura engulfed Jiang Chen. Humph! Jiang Chen harumphed coldly. A gigantic blood-red dragon claw was launched. It was like a blood-red mountain pressing down on the 4th-grade barbarian sovereign. The barbarian sovereign let out a miserable cry and was crushed into pieces on the spot. An opening appeared on the Zulong Tower, absorbing the 4th-grade barbarian sovereign completely, leaving nothing behind. Chapter 2075. What? A 4th-grade barbarian sovereign was instantly killed. Such a scene had caused the entire Wuka family's higher-ups to be greatly shocked. Each of them looked at Jiang Chen in a different light. All along, the barbarian race had always had the upper hand against the humans of the immortal world. But now, a 4th-grade barbarian sovereign was instantly killed by a 3rd-grade great sovereign. If they didn't see it with their own eyes, they wouldn't be able to imagine it. Furthermore, everyone could sense a pressure coming from Jiang Chen's body that came from his soul. The aura of pure yang that was casually emitted from Jiang Chen's body made them tremble with fear, as if they had met their natural nemesis. Human, where did you take the saintess? Ancestor Wuka looked at Jiang Chen and asked. Before killing Jiang Chen, he had to find out where the saintess was. For him, Xueqi was the most important thing. I have already sent her out of the Wuka family. Don't even think about finding the saintess. Jiang Chen said with a smile. Courting death. A 6th-grade great sovereign took action and rushed to the front of Jiang Chen in a blink of an eye. He struck out a large black cage, wanting to imprison Jiang Chen. Humph! Jiang Chen harumphed coldly. The heavenly dragon sword appeared in his hand instantly and slashed out. A terrifying sword chi instantly condensed into a sword net. Not only did it destroy the attack of the 6th-grade barbarian sovereign, the sword net also completely enveloped him. More importantly, Jiang Chen's sword net carried boundless waves of fire, causing an unparalleled pressure to his opponent. Damn it! How can this guy be so powerful? That flame is my nemesis. I can only display half of my strength when fighting against him. The 6th-grade barbarian sovereign turned pale with fright. Before he took action, he was completely confident. After all, he was a powerful existence that was 3 grades higher than his opponent. Killing a 3rd-grade great sovereign was a piece of cake. But when he fought against Jiang Chen, he found out how ridiculous his confidence was. He felt the threat of death with just a single sword strike from his opponent. Die! The sword net was torn apart fiercely. Even a 6th-grade barbarian sovereign couldn't withstand Jiang Chen's powerful attack and was torn apart on the spot. Huff huff! The golden wind whistled. That was the power of devouring. After the 6th-grade barbarian sovereign was killed, he was directly absorbed by the Zulong Tower. Rumble. The enhancement brought by a 6th-grade barbarian sovereign was undoubtedly huge. The 67th floor of the Zulong Tower was completely condensed. At the same time, Jiang Chen's body had increased by 10,000 dragon marks. His combat strength was even more terrifying than before. His sudden change was seen by the higher-ups of the Wuka family. Each of their expressions changed greatly. They could see that this human in front of them was too abnormal. Moreover, he had something that could restrain the barbarian race. He was simply the biggest threat to the barbarian race. This kind of threat was much greater than the Golden Clan. Although the bloodline of the Golden Clan could restrain the barbarian race, it definitely couldn't surpass 3 grades and kill a powerful great sovereign. Progenitor, we must get rid of this person. Not only can he restrain us, he can also absorb our essence to strengthen himself. Every time he kills one of us, his aura will become stronger. If this sort of person is allowed to continue growing, then in the future, all of us berserkers will die in his hands. Wuka Manjun said solemnly. He had already recognized Jiang Chen. That day in the desolate ancient land, he had attacked him. If it wasn't for Xueqi threatening him with her life, he wouldn't have spared his life. Wuka Manjun clearly remembered that when he first met Jiang Chen, he was just a puny immortal venerable. How long had it been since then? He had already become a third-grade great sovereign. Such speed of growth was truly shocking. Looking at Jiang Chen in front of him, Wuka Manjun began to regret letting him go that day. Fortunately, Jiang Chen had taken the initiative to come to his death. Now he could eliminate him once and for all. I will control him. Before killing him, we must find the saintess first. Old ancestor Wuka said coldly. He wasn't a fool. Naturally, he could see through the mysteriousness of this dragon man. Such a person couldn't be let go. Once he was let go, he would become a nightmare to the barbarian race in the upcoming catastrophe. Hong. A tyrannical and boundless chi wave rushed out from old ancestor Wuka's body like a tidal wave, crazily rushing towards Jiang Chen. If he was hit by this wave, even if he didn't die, he would still be skinned alive. Moreover, once he was hit by this wave, he would be completely controlled by old ancestor Wuka. At that time, it would be difficult for him to escape. Jiang Chen's eyes lit up. No matter how confident he was, he wouldn't dare to face a 9th-grade barbarian sovereign head-on. He immediately casted the Great Void technique to the maximum and escaped from the Wuka family. After killing 2 barbarian sovereigns, Jiang Chen knew that now wasn't the time to be entangled in the Wuka family. It wouldn't do him any good. The most important thing now was to escape with Xueqi. You're running pretty fast. Unfortunately, you're dreaming if you think you can escape from the Wuka family. Old ancestor Wuka's expression was indifferent. His killing intent soared to the sky. He raised the crutch in his hand and pointed it at Jiang Chen. Once the black light rushed out, it was like the most evil existence in the world, exterminating everything in its path. The whole void was imprisoned. The whole world was still. The black light had locked onto Jiang Chen, making it impossible for Jiang Chen to escape. An extremely dangerous qi rose from the bottom of Jiang Chen's heart. Under the imprisonment of the black light, he felt that his body wasn't his anymore. He hadn't felt such a great threat of death for a long time. A 9th-grade great sovereign was too terrifying. An 8th-grade great sovereign couldn't be compared to a 9th-grade great sovereign. He was the strongest in the world. He could destroy everything with just a wave of his hand. Gold feather fan, it's all up to you now. Jiang Chen waved his arm and a huge gold feather fan suddenly appeared, floating above Jiang Chen's head. At this moment, the gold feather fan was his only reliance. Furthermore, Jiang Chen knew that he only had one chance now, and that was the full-force attack of Golden Sovereign contained within the gold feather fan. He had to rely on this attack to defeat old ancestor Wuka, break the spatial seal here, and escape using the Great Void technique. This was also the reason why Jiang Chen was so confident. He had reason to believe that Golden Sovereign's attack wasn't something that old ancestor Wuka could contend against. Hoo-hoo! The huge gold feather fan was about 300 meters in size. After the huge fan appeared, it emitted endless golden light and flames, illuminating the sky above the Wuka family. Gold feather fan. Damn it! Why did this fan reappear in the world? Chapter 2076. Ancestor Wuka was not the only one who was shocked. Many people in the Wuka family had a drastic change in expression. Even those who had never seen the gold feather fan before had heard of its legend. They were afraid of the fan from the bottom of their hearts. In the past, their peerless ancestor had died under this huge fan. It was the nemesis of the entire barbarian race, a weakness that the barbarian race was unwilling to mention. Now that the gold feather fan had reappeared, it had given them a huge psychological blow. What made Ancestor Wuka happy was that the one controlling the gold feather fan was not the fearsome golden sovereign of the barbarian race, but a powerful kid. Therefore, Ancestor Wuka had made up his mind to kill this dragon man and destroy the gold feather fan, eliminating the biggest threat of the barbarian race. And just at this moment, a majestic figure suddenly appeared. That figure was faintly discernible as he stood under the gold feather fan like a peerless god of war. The aura that was casually emanating from him was like the heavens and earth reigning supreme. Golden Sovereign. Seeing the sudden appearance of the figure, Ancestor Wuka felt like his neck was being strangled. He shouted and almost jumped up. Didn't the Golden Great Emperor perish in the previous catastrophe? Why is he here again? Wuka was also shocked. His eyes were filled with fear as he looked at the figure of Golden Sovereign. Golden Sovereign was a legend of a generation. As the saying goes, a person's name is like a tree's shadow. The name of Golden Sovereign was not just for show. However, this figure that should have disappeared in the long river of history had appeared once again. Naturally, the shock it caused was incomparably huge. Back in the day, the immortal world had been in a golden age. There had been Grand Emperor Gold, King Immortal Slayer, Grand Emperor Zhongxian, and Grand Emperor Space Void. However, the barbarians also had powerful experts who could rival King Immortal Slayer. But after the cataclysm, all of them had vanished. No, it's just a divine sense left behind by Golden Sovereign. Ancestor Wuka quickly saw through it and let out a sigh of relief. If the real Golden Sovereign had appeared, he must immediately summon all the 9th-grade barbarian sovereigns of the barbarian world to fight against him. It's just a divine sense. How powerful can it be? Ancestor Wuka's murderous aura soared. He raised the walking stick in his hand and smashed it towards Golden Sovereign and the gold feather fan. Kacha! This strike shattered the void on the spot. The entire world was on the verge of collapsing. A powerful strike from a 9th-grade great sovereign could destroy an entire world. If it wasn't for old Ancestor Wuka's intention to create a battlefield, the entire Wuka family would have been annihilated. In the face of such a powerful attack, the Golden Great Emperor lifted his eyes. His face was indifferent. His eyes were like two blazing suns, with the phantom of the golden crow flickering in them. Pa! The Golden the Arch stretched out his hand and grabbed the gold feather fan. At this moment, the divine bird on the gold feather fan seemed to have come to life as it began to howl and circle in the void. Voila! The gold feather fan in Golden Sovereign's hand burst forth with its peak might, before it fanned towards Ancestor Wuka's walking stick. Rumble! The sky and earth changed color and the void was completely shattered. Shock waves from the battle spread out, destroying buildings one after another in the Wuka family. Some of the Wuka family members couldn't dodge in time and were burned into nothingness. Motherfucker, so powerful. Jiang Chen grinned. He had witnessed the attack of a 9th-grade great sovereign. It was impossible to control that kind of destructive energy. Deng deng deng. Under the powerful strike of the Golden the Arch, old Ancestor Wuka was forced to take a few steps back before he managed to stabilize his body. His face was pale and he spurted out a mouthful of blood. The hand that was holding the walking stick was trembling violently. On the other side, the figure of the Golden the Arch began to fade after unleashing such a powerful strike. This was the last ray of brilliance that the Golden the Arch had left behind in this world. From now on, there would no longer be a person called Golden the Arch. Jiang Chen felt a little sad about this situation. However, in order to save Xueqi, Jiang Chen could only exhaust the remaining power of the gold feather fan. This was the only way he could have a chance of survival. Now, Jiang Chen reacted quickly. He grabbed the handle of the gold feather fan and unleashed the Great Void technique to its limit, disappearing in a blink of an eye. The attack of the Golden the Arch had torn apart the spatial seal that old Ancestor Wuka had placed on the Wuka family. This was Jiang Chen's only chance. Jiang Chen wouldn't continue to fight and he didn't dare to. At this moment, there was nothing more important than escaping for his life. Chase after him. Don't let him escape. Old Ancestor Wuka shouted. Yes. Wuka Manjuan's aura fluctuated and he was the first to chase after the Golden the Arch. Many experts of the Wuka family also chased after him. They could already tell that the Golden the Arch could only unleash one attack. However, the Dragon Man must be left behind. If he escaped, the danger would be too great. At the same time, old Ancestor Wuka took out a black spiritual talisman and threw it into the void to summon wind, rain, thunder, lightning, 4 clans, hurry to the desolate ancient land and kill a man from the immortal world. The Wuka family and the 4 clans were on good terms. Now that old Ancestor Wuka was struck by the Golden Thearch's attack, he immediately summoned the 4 old ancestors to the desolate ancient land to hunt down the man. This showed how much importance old Ancestor Wuka had placed on Jiang Chen. The main reason was that Jiang Chen's performance was too miraculous. In addition to the appearance of the gold feather fan, it was hard for him not to pay attention to Jiang Chen. More importantly, Xueqi was taken away by Jiang Chen. The barbarian god's bloodline was related to the prosperity of the entire barbarian race. They must get it back. With the barbarian god's bloodline, the barbarian world would have enough confidence to destroy the immortal world. However, if the barbarian god's bloodline was lost, all their previous efforts would be in vain. Whoosh! Just as old ancestor Xueqi's summon was issued, four extremely powerful auras emerged from 4 different directions of the barbarian world, rushing towards the desolate ancient land. They were 4 old ancestors, 4 ninth-grade barbarian sovereigns. Old ancestor Xueqi knew that Jiang Chen must pass through the desolate ancient land if he wanted to escape back to the immortal world. What they needed to do now was to stop Jiang Chen in the desolate ancient land before Jiang Chen could escape back to the immortal world. At the same time, old ancestor Xueqi adjusted his condition and chased after Jiang Chen. Just like what ancestor Xueqi had said, Jiang Chen had already escaped to the desolate ancient land with the help of the Great Void technique. He didn't even turn his head back as he rushed towards the domain of the immortal world madly. Chapter 2077. Brat, where do you think you're going? Xueqi Manjuan's speed was the fastest. He had already caught up. His cultivation had reached the peak of the 8th grade barbarian sovereign realm, only a step away from the 9th grade great sovereign realm. As the patriarch of the Xueqi family, Xueqi Manjun was undoubtedly very terrifying. Moreover, Xueqi Manjun had caught up with Jiang Chen the moment he escaped. Even if Jiang Chen had the Great Void technique, it was normal for him to be caught up. Unparalleled barbaric devil. Xueqi Manjuan's murderous intent soared to the sky. He unleashed a powerful attack that could destroy the heavens and the earth. He transformed into a barbaric devil that was 100 zhong in size. It was ferocious and terrifying. It locked onto Jiang Chen's chi and body, pouncing towards him. Motherfucker! Jiang Chen couldn't help but curse. The gold feather fan in his hand shone with boundless colors, and he fanned towards the barbaric devil. The powerful gold feather fan was the biggest nemesis of the barbarian race. However, Jiang Chen's current strength was not enough to unleash the true power of the fan. With the gold feather fan, he could deal with an ordinary 7th grade barbarian sovereign. Even an 8th grade barbarian sovereign couldn't do anything to Jiang Chen. However, it was a little inferior to Xueqi Manjun, who was a peak 8th grade barbarian sovereign. However, Jiang Chen obviously did not want to be entangled with him. He could feel that there were more 9th grade barbarian sovereigns rushing towards him. The consequences would be unimaginable once he was surrounded by them. Rumble. The golden light emitted by the gold feather fan had greatly weakened the power of the barbaric devil. The moment Jiang Chen unleashed the gold feather fan, the heavenly dragon battle armor appeared on his body. Rumble. The barbaric devil's full power heavily hit the heavenly dragon battle armor. With the defensive power of the heavenly dragon battle armor, it was not a problem to withstand the barbaric devil's powerful attack. Jiang Chen took advantage of this attack to escape quickly. Indeed, Jiang Chen was sent flying away under the barbaric devil's powerful attack. He flew into the void and disappeared completely. What a cunning brat. He actually has so many treasures on him. He is a potential threat to our berserker tribe. We must get rid of him. Xueqi Manjuan's eyes flickered and his murderous aura intensified. He took a step forward and continued to chase after Jiang Chen. At the same time, Ancestor Xueqi brought the 4 ancestors of wind, rain, thunder, and lightning with him. Where is he? Ancestor Xueqi looked at Xueqi Manjun. He ran away. That kid has a lot of treasures on him. Xueqi Manjun said. Kill him. We can't let him escape to the world of immortals. This brat is too dangerous. He has a method that specifically counters us, and he can absorb the essence of us berserkers to increase his cultivation base. If we start a war, all of us berserkers will become his nourishment, and the god of berserkers' bloodline is in his hands. Ancestor Xueqi said. Ancestor Xueqi, why are you so careless? You can't even keep a lookout for the barbarian god's bloodline. Ancestor Black Thunder said snappily. Stop talking. Let's catch him first. Ancestor Xueqi was so angry that he wanted to spurt out blood. He, a dignified 9th grade barbarian sovereign, had suffered a great loss in the hands of a kid. Not only did he lose the barbarian god's bloodline, but he was also injured by the gold feather fan. Jiang Chen unleashed his Great Void technique to the extreme, appearing in the cracks of the space continuously. Motherfucker, I've been locked down. Jiang Chen couldn't help but curse. According to his previous calculations, he had already unleashed his Great Void technique to the extreme. However, the barbarian race's reaction was too fast. His chi was locked down by a 9th grade barbarian sovereign. Even if he kept appearing in different cracks of the space, he still couldn't completely get rid of the ninth-grade barbarian sovereign's pursuit. What Jiang Chen needed to do now was to escape to the sovereign domain before the ninth-grade barbarian sovereigns could catch up with him. He would be safe once he reached the sovereign domain. There were 8 great rulers in the sovereign domain. Even these ninth-grade barbarian sovereigns wouldn't dare to barge into the sovereign domain unless they started a war. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Jiang Chen's body was like a swimming dragon. He was like a ghost and a phantom. The Great Void technique allowed him to appear in different cracks of the space. How can this bastard be so fast? Old ancestor Wu Lei cursed. One should know that they were all powerful 9th-grade barbarian sovereigns. An ordinary 3rd-grade great sovereign was like an ant in front of them. Not to mention escaping from their hands. It was simply impossible for them to do so. However, this human in front of them was only a 3rd-grade great sovereign. How could the 5 of them not be able to catch up with him even after joining hands? This was simply too ridiculous. However, this situation made the 4 ancestors truly feel the threat of Jiang Chen. This was a great potential threat. If they couldn't take this opportunity to get rid of him, no one knew how much the barbarian race would suffer in the hands of Jiang Chen in the future war. Inescapable net. Old ancestor Black Wind erupted. Violent black wind waves rushed out from his body. In an instant, the entire void fell into a strong hurricane. The hurricane that was powerful enough to destroy everything formed a huge net, shrouding the entire void. This was truly an inescapable net. Once you're trapped, there's no way to escape. Not good. Jiang Chen knew that this was not good. The gap between him and a 9th-grade barbarian sovereign was too big. Now that he was trapped by the wind net, it would be extremely difficult for him to continue escaping. Kid, let's see where you can run to now. Old ancestor Black Wind crossed thousands of layers of space and appeared above Jiang Chen's head along with the other old ancestors. Big brother. In the Zulong Tower, Xueqi saw everything with her eyes. Her expression was filled with worry. At this critical moment of life and death, a huge golden hand suddenly crossed the void. That huge hand seemed to be able to crush everything in the heavens and earth. In just a moment, it tore apart the net that was trapping Jiang Chen. At the same time, 4 rays of incomparably bright light came from the other side and turned into 4 tall and stalwart figures, standing in front of Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen finally heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the 4 of them. The aura that these 4 people emitted was not any weaker than the 5 ancestors of the barbarian race. They were the people that stood at the peak of this world, powerful 9th-grade great sovereigns. Without thinking, Jiang Chen knew that these 4 people must be the 8 great rulers of the sovereign domain. Otherwise, they wouldn't have come to save him at such a critical moment. Jiang Chen knew that Yang Junlong must be worried about him and told these 9th-grade great sovereigns about him. These 9th-grade great sovereigns also realized the severity of the situation. After all, it was related to the barbarian god's bloodline. Therefore, they decisively went to the desolate ancient land and coincidentally saw Jiang Chen being chased by the 5 ancestors of the barbarian race. Sovereign Xianfeng, Sovereign Lingtian, Sovereign Taichung, Sovereign Tianming. Great, the 4 great sovereigns of the immortal world have appeared. Looks like this is all part of your plan. Chapter 2078. For a long time, the barbarian world and sovereign domain had been in conflict. Therefore, old ancestor Wuka was very clear about the 8 rulers of sovereign domain. In fact, the barbarian world had been preparing for a new war. Naturally, the most important part of their preparation was to find out the background of the higher-ups of the immortal world. The higher-ups of the barbarian world are really shameless. So many old ancestors are chasing after a 3rd-grade great sovereign of our immortal world. Aren't they ashamed? A middle-aged man in white battle robe, Lang Lang, said. He was Sovereign Xianfeng, a peak 9th-grade great sovereign. If they were to fight, he wouldn't be weaker than any of the 5 old ancestors. Sovereign Xianfeng, cut the crap. Hand over that kid. Otherwise the barbarian world and the immortal world will go to war. Old ancestor Wuka shouted. Let's go to war then. Do you think we're afraid of you? The barbarian world has been planning for so long. It's not far from the war. Sovereign Ling Tian's face was as sharp as a knife as he said in an imposing manner, without a hint of fear. At the same time, he turned to Jiang Chen and asked, Did you get the barbarian god bloodline back? The barbarian god bloodline was the thing that the 4 great sovereigns were most concerned about. This was also one of the reasons why they went to the desolate ancient land to rescue Jiang Chen after receiving the news. If the barbarian world successfully extracted the barbarian god bloodline, it would be like doomsday to the immortal world. Don't worry, senior. I've got it. Jiang Chen said. Good lad. Sovereign Ling Tian couldn't help but praise. The other three great sovereigns looked at Jiang Chen with astonishment and praise. A third-grade great sovereign was able to enter the base camp of the Xueqi family, retrieve the person from their sacrificial altar, and escape to this place. Even one of them wouldn't be able to achieve such a miracle. At first, when they learned about this from Yang Junlong, they cursed Yang Junlong. They were almost certain that Jiang Chen was dead, but they didn't think that Jiang Chen would really give them a surprise. Not only did he not die, but he also escaped unscathed. You're Jiang Chen, right? You've made the greatest contribution to the immortal world. We'll hold these old ancestors off. You leave this place first. Grand Emperor Taichung, who was wearing a Taoist robe, said to Jiang Chen. All right. Jiang Chen nodded. Without delay, he exerted the Great Void technique to the extreme and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Jiang Chen was a smart man. He knew that there was no point for him to stay here. There was nothing he could do to help in the battle between the ninth-grade great sovereigns. That's the Great Void technique. This kid actually obtained the legacy of the Void Emperor, creating such a miracle with the strength of a third-grade great sovereign. I never thought that such a genius would appear in our immortal world in this era. Not bad. This person needs to be nurtured properly. The four sovereigns were full of praise for Jiang Chen's performance. At the same time, they were happy that such a genius had appeared in the immortal world. The war with the barbarian world was about to begin. At this time, they needed talents the most. Stop that kid, don't let him escape. Seeing that Jiang Chen had disappeared, old ancestor Xueqi immediately shouted. He had already witnessed how powerful Jiang Chen was. His speed was unparalleled. Once he lost his target, it would be like finding a needle in a haystack for a ninth-grade barbarian sovereign to catch him. Are you treating the four of us as non-existent? Sovereign Xianfeng shouted as well. The four sovereigns stood in four different directions. Terrifying chi waves shrouded the surrounding void and the entire desolate ancient land, not giving the five ancestors any chance to chase after Jiang Chen. Rumble. In an instant, the nine ninth-grade great sovereigns started a life-and-death battle in the void. The entire void was destroyed. The five ancestors of the barbarian world wanted to escape from the four sovereigns' pursuit of Jiang Chen. However, the four sovereigns' techniques were too terrifying, blocking their way. In the end, the battle between the five ancestors and the four sovereigns lasted for more than 10 minutes without a winner being decided. At this time, Jiang Chen had already disappeared without a trace. No matter how unwilling the five ancestors were, they had no choice but to give up. Sovereign Xianfeng, Sovereign Ling Tian, Sovereign Taichung, Sovereign Tian Ming, wait for the massacre of the barbarian world's army. The army of the barbarian world will invade the immortal world in a few days. This time, the people of the immortal world will be plunged into misery and suffering, becoming a vassal of the barbarian world. Old ancestor Xueqi said sternly. All right, we'll be waiting. Sovereign Xuanfeng's body flashed and headed towards the sovereign domain with the other three sovereigns. However, the four of them did not look good, because they knew that old ancestor Xueqi was not joking. Now that the barbarian god bloodline had been lost, the barbarian world would definitely start a war in order to get it back. The barbarian world had been planning this for a long time and had reached the point of starting a war with the immortal world. Now that Jiang Chen had snatched Xueling away, it had ignited the fuse. The war could break out at any time. Let's go and convene the 12 Clans Conference. 3 days later, we'll start a war with the immortal world. The walking stick in old ancestor Xueqi's hand emitted a dim light and his tone was extremely cold. Outside Quicksand City in the sovereign domain, Yang Junlong was pacing back and forth with a worried expression. At this moment, a figure jumped out from the void. It was Jiang Chen. How was it? Did you succeed? Yang Junlong hastily stepped forward, his tone filled with urgency. As a matter of fact, he had already made up his mind after seeing Jiang Chen come back alive. Jiang Chen nodded. He tore a crack on the Zulong Tower and released Xueling. Xueling, who walked out of the Zulong Tower, was still in shock and panic. Even though she was hiding in the Zulong Tower, she could clearly see everything that happened outside. The entire process was soul-stirring and blood-boiling. Perhaps only Jiang Chen was capable of such a scene. Big brother, thank you. Xueqi could not hide her excitement. Her eyes were filled with endless gratitude when she looked at Jiang Chen. Silly girl, what are you talking about? If I can't save you, Jiang Chen, will live in regret for the rest of my life. Jiang Chen caressed Xueqing's beautiful face. Now that Xueqing was successfully rescued, one of his worries was finally resolved before the war with the barbarian world. Rumble. At this time, a crack was blasted in the void and the 4 emperors walked out from it. Greetings, 4 emperors. Yang Junlong quickly stepped forward and bowed deeply to the 4 emperors. The barbarian world's army will arrive soon. The second catastrophe of the immortal world is coming. Immediately gather the other 4 emperors and hold an emergency meeting. Jiang Chen, come and join us. Emperor Xuanfeng said solemnly. Is it finally coming? Chapter 2079. In a deep space of the sovereign domain, 8 powerful 9th-grade great sovereigns gathered together. Sovereign Ling Tian, Sovereign Xuanfeng, Sovereign Tianming, Sovereign Taichung, Sovereign Taishu, Heavenly Wolf Demon Sovereign, Sovereign Raging Fire, Sovereign Thunderbolt. The 8 great sovereigns were all peak 9th-grade great sovereigns. They were the 8 rulers of the sovereign domain, controlling the sovereign domain and obstructing the barbarian world. Junior Jiang Chen greets the seniors. Jiang Chen greeted the 8 of them. Sovereign Taishu, Sovereign Thunderbolt, this man has just returned from the barbarian world. He stole the barbarian god's bloodline from the Wuka family's sacrificial altar, and made a great contribution to the immortal world. I have investigated Jiang Chen. This man is the most outstanding monstrous genius in the immortal world for tens of thousands of years. Not long ago, the Golden Clan returned and Jiang Chen obtained the recognition of the Golden Feather Fan, becoming its new owner. He instantly killed a 6th-grade barbarian sovereign of the barbarian world with his 3rd-grade great sovereign cultivation base. The aura and flames that he emits are the greatest nemesis of the barbarian race. Sovereign Ling Tian and Sovereign Xuanfeng said. With their cultivation base, it was a piece of cake for them to investigate a person's background. After knowing about Jiang Chen's past deeds, they paid more attention to Jiang Chen. Otherwise, they wouldn't have allowed him to participate in this meeting. Sovereign Taishu and Sovereign Thunderbolt obviously had the highest status in the sovereign domain because they were the survivors of the previous catastrophe. They had existed for a very long time. Whether it was their status or identity, they were much higher than the others. Monarch Taishu was an old Taoist. He looked at Jiang Chen with admiration in his eyes. Not bad at all. It's rare for a young man to be able to remain so calm before the 8 of us. This old Taoist used the heaven's will to perform a divination for the immortal world's servant of fate. The divination showed that this is the greatest calamity the immortal world has ever faced. There's one person who can change the fate of the immortal world. This person isn't the 8 of us, nor is it the ancestor of the Golden Clan. It seems like it's very likely to be Jiang Chen. Hearing this, the way the others looked at Jiang Chen changed again. Taoist Taishu's divination index was still very good, and they all believed him 100%. It was rare for Sovereign Taishu to praise someone like that. Since he had said so, it meant that Jiang Chen was extraordinary. Just as Sovereign Taishu had said, Jiang Chen could very well be the one who changed the fate of the immortal world. Jiang Chen has taken away the barbarian god bloodline this time. He has already turned the situation around. Next, the barbarian world will definitely start a war in order to obtain the barbarian god bloodline. We must be prepared as soon as possible. Sovereign Thunderbolt said. In my opinion, the ultimate war in the sovereign domain won't come so soon. Jiang Chen's cultivation base is only at the 3rd-grade great sovereign realm now. He needs a lot of training brought by war. I think it's better for Jiang Chen to return to the immortal world temporarily. The situation in the immortal world needs someone to control it. Sovereign Xuanfeng said. Return to the immortal world? Isn't the barbarian world's attack going to start from the sovereign domain? Jiang Chen was stunned. Jiang Chen, you're wrong. This is a war, a catastrophe. No matter for the barbarian world or the immortal world, it's an unprecedented war. No one can escape from this catastrophe. Once the catastrophe comes, the barbarian world will open countless passageways to the immortal world. The barbarian world is a warlike race. Their purpose of starting a war is to destroy the faith of the immortal world and completely destroy the immortal world. Therefore, the real decisive battle won't come so soon after the war starts. They will launch a full-scale war, and every level of the barbarian world will participate in a life-and-death battle. At that time, the war will spread to every corner of the immortal world, all the way to the final battle in the sovereign domain. Heavenly Wolf Demon Sovereign said. Therefore, this period of time is the time for you, Jiang Chen, to grow. You will only be qualified to participate in the final battle when you grow up. If you can't grow up, you can only rely on us old bones for the final battle. Junior understands. I won't let you down. Jiang Chen's expression was shaken. His body automatically overflowed with heroism, mixed with a strong aura of a ruler. The 8 great sovereigns looked at Jiang Chen and nodded secretly. Such a monster, as long as he was given enough time to grow, his future achievements would be limitless. Chila! Sovereign Taishu used his finger like a sword and drew a line in the void, creating a spatial passageway. Jiang Chen, leave now. With you around, the immortal world situation is stable. We can rest assured. As for the little girl with the barbarian god's bloodline, we will protect her well. She's the safest here. Yes. Jiang Chen didn't hesitate. He took a step forward and disappeared into the spatial crack. He knew that Sovereign Taishu was right. Zhua Ling had the barbarian god's bloodline. She was a very important person. The 8 great sovereigns would definitely not let Zhua Ling fall into the hands of the barbarian race. They would definitely protect her with all their might. In the entire immortal world, there was probably no place safer than being protected by the 8 great sovereigns. Jiang Chen had nothing to worry about. Jiang Chen knew that his return this time would not be the same as before. This time he was going with a great mission. The war could come at any time. Dong dong dong. Not long after Jiang Chen left, a deep and ancient bell rang in the sky of the sovereign domain. This bell had not rung for tens of thousands of years. This was the sound of a warning bell. It would only ring when the catastrophe was coming. Along with the heavy and distant sound of the bell, the various cities in the imperial region started to become extremely restless. The catastrophe is coming. The barbarian world is going to launch their second attack. Motherfucker, it's coming sooner or later. Let's fight it out with them. Come on. I've been waiting for this moment for many years. It's my regret that I didn't participate in the previous catastrophe. Many people were extremely excited. Those who could enter the sovereign domain were not easy to deal with. More importantly, they knew what it meant to come to the sovereign domain. The sovereign domain existed to fight against the barbarian world. It was created for the second catastrophe. Now that the catastrophe was coming, everyone quickly adjusted their mentality and made ample preparations. It's finally coming. Yang Juanlong's expression was indifferent. To someone like him, it was an honor to participate in the war. Even if he died in battle, it would be a worthy death. Immortal World. Golden Clan. Chapter 2080. In the Golden Clan, the higher-ups of the Golden Clan gathered together after Jiang Chen's return. Everyone in the hall was an expert among experts. All of them were the higher-ups of the Golden Clan. The atmosphere was very heavy and oppressive. Jiang Chen had already told them about what happened in the barbarian world. The catastrophe was coming, and the Golden Clan still had a long way to go. The current situation was not favorable for the immortal world. There was still a certain gap between the immortal world and the barbarian world. Moreover, the barbarian race was extremely ferocious. Once the catastrophe came, the immortal world would be plunged into misery and suffering. The only fortunate thing was that Jiang Chen had successfully rescued Zhua Ling from the Golden Clan, causing the Golden Clan to lose the barbarian god bloodline. Otherwise, once the barbarian god bloodline was refined by old ancestor Xueqi, the consequences would be unimaginable. No one spoke in the hall, as if they were waiting for something. Not long after, the space in the hall trembled and an old man dressed in a golden crow robe walked out. His appearance caused the entire hall to become incomparably dazzling. He did not have a majestic figure, but the aura that he casually exuded was enough to make people tremble in fear. Old ancestor. Seeing the appearance of the old man, Jin Qishao and the other higher-ups of the Golden Clan bowed to greet him, showing extreme respect to the old man. Jiang Chen also bowed slightly. He had seen the aura of a 9th-grade great sovereign before, so he could tell that the old ancestor in front of him was also at the peak of the 9th grade Great Sovereign Realm. He seemed to have the same cultivation base and aura as Sovereign Taishu and Sovereign Lei Lei, but in terms of fighting against the barbarian race, the old ancestor obviously had the upper hand. To put it bluntly, a 9th grade Great Sovereign like the old ancestor was equivalent to 2 9th grade barbarian sovereigns in the barbarian world. This was the advantage. This was the restraint. The powerful bloodline of the Golden Clan deeply suppressed the barbarian race. Yes, I have heard what you guys said. The reason why our Golden Clan is revived is because of this catastrophe. Since the catastrophe is coming, we must be prepared. The old ancestor nodded and said. His expression was indifferent, not showing any signs of agitation because of the catastrophe. This was a strong temperament, a characteristic of the old antiques that had lived for countless years. Old ancestor, what should we do for our Golden Clan? Jin Qishao asked. Let Jin Yuanchun stay behind to take charge of the overall situation. As for those above the 7th grade Great Sovereign Realm, follow me to Sovereign Domain. The calamity is coming. The entire immortal world will not be spared. Because of the existence of Sovereign Domain, the barbarian world will definitely put most of their attention on the battlefield of Sovereign Domain. It's a good thing for the immortal world that we're leaving. At that time, the barbarian world will send their army according to the overall strength of the immortal world. Golden Ancestor said. Ancestor, rest assured. This old man will definitely lead the Gold Clan to fight against the barbarians. An old man stood up and said. His name was Jin Yuansuan, a 7th grade Great Sovereign. It was good enough that the Golden Clan had left a 7th grade Great Sovereign to take charge of the situation. As for the others, they would head to the Sovereign Domain. After all, the final battlefield of this catastrophe was in the Sovereign Domain. Jiang Chen. Jin Qishao looked at Jiang Chen. Clan leader, please let us know if you have any arrangements. Jiang Chen said. You should know how strong the barbarian world is after you went to the barbarian world. This war with the barbarian world is not a small one. Although the final battlefield will be in the Sovereign Domain, the immortal world is still their main base. You are the inheritor of the Gold Feather Fan, and also the key person in this catastrophe. After we leave, you will assist Elder Jin Yuansuan to fight against the barbarians. I hope that you will grow stronger in the war as soon as possible. I hope to see your shadow in the final battle of Sovereign Domain. Jin Qishao said. He valued Jiang Chen a lot. Just like what Sovereign Taishu had predicted, Jiang Chen was the key person in this catastrophe, a person who could change the outcome of the entire catastrophe. Clan leader, please be at ease. This time, the barbarian world will fall into eternal damnation. Jiang Chen said loudly. He knew that once the war started, it would not end in a day or two. This was a war between two worlds. The barbarian world had been plotting for tens of thousands of years. If this war were to spread out, who knew how long it would take? Jiang Chen, I will leave the overall situation of the immortal world to you. The descent of the barbarian world is also a great opportunity for you to grow. Old Ancestor Jin said to Jiang Chen. His eyes were filled with admiration. At this time, Old Ancestor Jin tore the void with his bare hands, and brought the experts of the Gold Clan away to the Sovereign Domain. After the higher-ups left, the Gold Clan entered a state of preparation for war. And at this time, Jiang Chen left the Gold Clan. There were less than 3 days before the war. Jiang Chen wanted to make use of this time to visit his brothers. His first stop, Jiang Chen went to the White Dragon Temple. He met his old friend, Old Ancestor Green Lotus. Green Lotus, the calamity is coming and the war is coming. Your White Dragon Temple has to be prepared. In the war against the barbarians, the Buddhist sect is also a force that cannot be underestimated. Jiang Chen said. The White Dragon Temple is always preparing. Green Lotus had a dignified expression. The friendship between Jiang Chen and Old Ancestor Green Lotus was unclear. From Jiang Chen's first life, to his reincarnation, to Green Lotus becoming the abbot of the White Dragon Temple in the immortal world, everything seemed to have been predestined. Where's the monk? Jiang Chen asked. Ever since he returned, he has sealed himself in the God-suppressing monument. The little monk has a deep affinity with Buddhism. There are great opportunities in the God-suppressing monument. Old Ancestor Green Lotus said. His tone was full of praise for Tyrant. Not seeing the monk, Jiang Chen chatted with Old Ancestor Green Lotus for a while more before leaving. His second stop, Jiang Chen went to the Great Qian Empire to inform them about the calamity and ask them to be prepared. Yan Chenyu had already become a second-grade great sovereign. She didn't leave with Jiang Chen because the Great Qian Empire needed her. Once the war started, no one would be spared. Every place would become a battlefield. It was the same no matter where Yan Chenyu went. After leaving the Great Qian Empire, Jiang Chen went to the profound Yin cult in northern Xuanyu to meet the cult master of the cult to inquire about Han Yan's situation. Han Yan went to the Devil Mountain and hasn't returned. The cult master of the profound Yin cult said, "Where is the Devil Mountain?" Jiang Chen asked. "I don't know. The Devil Mountain only exists in the legends. Only those who found the Devil Mountain would know where it is. The Devil Mountain has existed for thousands of years in the history of the profound Yin cult. Han Yan is the first person to find the Devil Mountain. Legend has it that those who enter the Devil Mountain will obtain the true inheritance of the ancient devil." The cult master of the profound Yin cult said, "This is Ah Yan's fortune." Jiang Chen was very happy. Han Yan was able to find the legendary Devil Mountain. Jiang Chen was naturally happy for him. It was imaginable that Han Yan's cultivation would improve by leaps and bounds after entering the legendary Devil Mountain. Tyrant was in the God-suppressing monument. Han Yan had gone to the Devil Mountain. The next stop was the demonic immortal island. For the fastest novel reading, please visit Chapter 2081. The demonic immortal island was as peaceful as ever. As the overlord of the outer seas, almost no force dared to provoke the prestige of the demonic immortal island. Jiang Chen came to the demonic immortal island without the slightest obstruction. He was a good friend of the Holy Sun and the sworn brother of Tianpeng Evil Emperor. No one dared to stop him from coming to the demonic immortal island. "Brother, you're here. I haven't seen you for such a long time. Your cultivation progress is really terrifying." Tianpeng Evil Emperor couldn't help sighing when he saw Jiang Chen. The first time he saw Jiang Chen was like a day ago. In such a short period of time, Jiang Chen had grown to a level that amazed him. "Big brother, the calamity is coming. The barbarian world will attack soon. The demonic immortal island needs to be prepared." Without further ado, Jiang Chen told Heavenly Peng about the impending war in the barbarian world so that the demonic immortal island could prepare in advance. "It's finally coming. I want to see how powerful the barbarians of the barbarian world are." Tianpeng Evil Emperor's aura fluctuated. He was an ambitious and ruthless person who had been the leader of the demonic immortal island for too long. He had had enough of the unchallenging days. The war with the barbarian world was exactly what he wanted. "Once the war starts, big brother, you will be the pinnacle existence in the immortal world. You will play a vital role," Jiang Chen said with a smile. Given Heavenly Peng Demon Sovereign's strength, none of the barbarian sovereigns of the barbarian world were his match. Putting aside sovereign domain, Heavenly Peng Demon Sovereign's strength was absolutely at the pinnacle in the war in the immortal world. "By the way, where's Monkey? Why don't I see him?" Jiang Chen asked curiously. Long Shan should be the first to appear when he arrived. 13 went to the tomb again. This time, he will inherit all the things left by the first-generation Saintess. This is a great opportunity. When he comes out of seclusion, I'm afraid that he will be more terrifying than me. The Saintess really has sharp eyes. Tianpeng Evil Emperor said. "That's for sure. Monkey is a battle saint ape with a powerful bloodline. Naturally, he's a supreme genius." Jiang Chen smiled. Now that the Great War was about to arrive, he was most worried about his brothers. Tyrant was in the God-suppressing monument, Han Yan had gone to Devil Mountain, and Long Shan was in the demonic immortal island. Each of them was growing stronger and stronger. In this case, Jiang Chen was completely at ease. When the Great War arrived, they would be able to take charge. Subsequently, Jiang Chen met Xiao Wangqing again and chatted for a while before leaving. The next stop was Feng Luo sect. Jiang Chen's return to Feng Luo sect was also the most crucial stop because Jiang Zhenhai was here. With the impending war, Jiang Chen had to ensure Jiang Zhenhai's safety. Given Jiang Zhenhai's current cultivation base, he wouldn't be safe no matter where he stayed once the catastrophe arrived. To Jiang Zhenhai, the only safe place in this world was the Zulong Tower. The Zulong Tower and Jiang Chen would live and die together. As long as Jiang Chen didn't die and Zulong Tower didn't perish, Jiang Zhenhai would be safe. Jiang Chen wanted to protect Jiang Zhenhai with his life. Jiang Zhenhai was the most important person in this world. He didn't want Jiang Zhenhai to gain any experience in the catastrophe, nor did he want Jiang Zhenhai to improve his cultivation base through such a catastrophe. In Jiang Chen's mind, it didn't matter if Jiang Zhenhai was strong or not, or if his cultivation level was high or not. All he cared about was whether Jiang Zhenhai was safe or not. He wouldn't gamble with his father's life, because he couldn't afford to. To Jiang Chen, Jiang Zhenhai was his only relative. All he wanted was for Jiang Zhenhai to live well in this world. In that case, Jiang Chen would have someone to rely on in his heart. Jiang Chen didn't stay in Fengluo sect. He directly took Jiang Zhenhai away. Before leaving, he set up a defensive array above Fengluo sect. This array could protect Fengluo sect from any harm. Jiang Chen couldn't do much for the vast immortal world. He couldn't take care of every single place. This was a catastrophe that would affect the entire immortal world. No one could be spared. People would die in a catastrophe, and a lot of them would die. This was the heavenly Tao's reincarnation. Even if Jiang Chen was the savior of the world, he couldn't annihilate the entire barbarian race without losing a single person in the immortal world. Jiang Chen would try his best to do things with a clear conscience. Whatever he could do, he would do it. After the catastrophe, a new era would be ushered in. After experiencing the baptism of the catastrophe, the immortal world would certainly become more prosperous. After bringing Jiang Zhenhai away, Jiang Chen returned to Fengqi Immortal Court. The first thing he did after returning to the Immortal Court was to hold an emergency meeting. All the higher-ups of the Immortal Court had gathered in the meeting hall. Heaven Sovereign, Feng Jingyang, Ling LeCun, Yu Huafan. Jiang Chen directly told them about the impending war in the barbarian world. Everyone present could feel the premonition of the coming storm. They knew that a great earthquake was coming, and none of them would be spared from this catastrophe. What they needed to do now was to be fully prepared for the war. This catastrophe was different from the previous ones. This was a war between two worlds. All the grudges of the past must be thrown to the back of their minds. From today onwards, everyone in the immortal world must unite. The barbarian race was the only enemy of the human race. I didn't make it in time for the last catastrophe. This time, I must experience it. Heaven Sovereign's aura was like a rainbow. His eyes were glowing without the slightest hint of fear. He was the same as Tianping Evil Emperor. They were both people who wished to see the world in chaos. A person's growth must be accompanied by the tribulations of life and death. It's the same for a force or a world. The immortal world is going to face its own tribulation, and we are all part of it. Feng Jingyang said. Feng Jingyang was already a 6th grade great sovereign. With his ability, he should have advanced to the 6th grade great sovereign a long time ago. Jiang Chen was not surprised by his advancement at all. "Ah Nan, where's De Huang? Why haven't I seen him?" Jiang Chen asked curiously. He did not see De Huang dog this time. Cough cough. Nangong Wentian coughed twice when De Huang dog was mentioned. The others' facial expression became extremely unnatural. Some of them even began to grind their teeth. It seemed like De Huang dog had done something bad. That damned dog has sneaked into the treasury of the Immortal Court and consumed all the spiritual herbs of the Immortal Court. He's now sleeping soundly. Nangong Wentian said impatiently. Jiang Chen was stunned. He held his forehead with his hand. He finally understood why some of them were grinding their teeth. This was something that De Huang would definitely do. He had stolen and eaten all the spiritual herbs in the treasury. If it wasn't for Heaven's Sovereign stopping him, he would have been skinned alive. Yes, the spiritual herbs are a small issue. When the barbarian world invades, strength is the most important thing. I'm afraid that De Huang's cultivation base will increase by a lot. This is a good thing for us. Chapter 2082. Since the deed had been done, Jiang Chen couldn't do anything about it. He couldn't drag De Huang dog out and beat him up while he was cultivating. Otherwise that dog would go crazy. In Jiang Chen's opinion, it would be a great thing if De Huang dog could rely on those medicinal herbs to advance at such a critical moment. Now that Tyrant, Han Yan, and Long San were experiencing fortuitous encounters, their cultivation would advance by leaps and bounds. Naturally, De Huang dog had to improve as well. Otherwise, even if he was the reincarnation of Demon Sovereign Dragon's son, he wouldn't be able to cope with the upcoming catastrophe. What followed next was a long wait. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. It was noon on this day. Rumble. A strong roar suddenly broke out in the sky above the immortal world. The scorching sun in the sky of the immortal world that spanned hundreds of millions of miles suddenly disappeared and was covered by dark clouds. Then, huge cracks began to appear in the void. Those cracks quickly formed a passageway, and a cold and gloomy aura seeped out from the inside. Violent airwaves and boundless pressure swept across every corner of the immortal world. Within a radius of 1,000,000 miles, there would be a black spatial passageway opening. The sky above the immortal world was filled with such black spatial passageways. What's going on? Such a strong pressure. Is the end of the world? Oh my God. What's that? I see a lot of people. They don't seem to be from our world. I heard that the immortal world experienced a catastrophe in the ancient times. Could it be that another catastrophe is coming? Everyone, get ready. I'm afraid that there will be alien beings coming to attack the immortal world. We have to be prepared to fight to the death. Countless people began to exclaim. Most of them didn't know what was going on. Many of them didn't even know about the catastrophe that happened in the ancient times. It seemed to be a legend from a very long time ago. After all, it had been too long. For tens of thousands of years, the immortal world had changed from generation to generation. Who would still remember what happened in the ancient times? However, they weren't fools. As powerful immortals, their perception was very keen. They could sense the intense danger and the aura of a calamity. It was the feeling of the end of the world. They could sense that this time, they had to defend with their lives in order to survive this calamity. Rumble. Powerful waves overflowed in all directions. An army of barbarians rushed out from the passageway like a tidal wave. Each of them held a barbarian weapon in their hand, their eyes red and extremely ferocious. Thousands upon thousands of barbarians appeared. Without saying a word, they started killing the people of the immortal world. Large numbers of barbarians charged in all directions. It was obvious that the barbarian world had made sufficient preparations before the attack. They had even investigated the major regions of the immortal world and sent barbarians according to their strength and numbers. They saw this war as a form of training for their race. They hoped that their people would continue to grow under such training. The massacre began in an instant. Blood spurted everywhere. The sudden attack caught the barbarian world off guard. Many places in the immortal world suffered heavy losses. After all, they weren't prepared in advance and there was no sign of it. However, the immortals of the world of immortals reacted very quickly. The major forces in each region automatically formed a defensive formation and led the immortals of the region to fight against the barbarians. A cataclysmic battle of life and death unfolded. The same scene happened in different places in the immortal world. The war came almost at the same time. Countless major forces played an important role in the war and fought against the barbarians. At this moment of life and death, the major forces of any region had no choice but to put aside all the previous grievances and choose to unite to fight against the barbarian world. At the moment of the catastrophe, all grievances were like floating clouds. Everything in the past seemed to be unimportant. At this time, killing the enemy was the most important thing. The barbarian world was their only enemy. The catastrophe arrived. The sky turned dark. The entire immortal world was plunged into misery and suffering. The blazing sun no longer existed and the moonlight disappeared forever. No one knew how long this war would last. 1 month, 2 months, 1 year, 2 years, or even longer. This was a war of catastrophe and also a tug of war. This war was a trial and a metamorphosis for both the barbarian world and the immortal world. This war might last for a long time. Or it could be said that the higher-ups of both sides didn't want the outcome to be decided so quickly. They all hoped that their clansmen could grow up in such a war. Countless regions in the 9 major immortal domains were fighting against the barbarian world. The barbarian world was fully prepared for this war. As soon as the war began, almost all of them spread out. In terms of size, the gap between the barbarian world and the immortal world was huge. Even 100 barbarian worlds weren't as big as the immortal world. However, the barbarian world reproduced quickly and had a large population. Although the number of the barbarian world couldn't be compared to the immortal world, their combat strength was more valiant than the other. It was definitely a catastrophe for the immortal world. Great Chen Empire, Celestial Flower Valley, Exquisite Paradise, Ethereal Immortal Court. Countless forces, big and small, were fighting against the barbarian world. All of them were engaged in a fierce war. The catastrophe has come. Everyone, listen up. Kill the barbarians at all costs. Kill them. Defend the dignity of the human race. Come on, son of a bitch. I'll let you know the power of the human race. At the moment the calamity descended, the human race's sense of glory suddenly rose and filled the hearts of every single human. When they knew that they could not escape, every single one of them became a tough man who was not afraid of death. Everyone's fighting spirit was stimulated and they were fearless. For the sake of the human race's dignity, for the sake of defending the pure land of the immortal realm, they used their lives and blood to fight against the barbarians. When the passageway of the Xueqi immortal court was opened, tens of thousands of barbarians appeared in the sky. The powerful barbarian Qi formed a black cloud that shrouded the entire sky of the immortal court. The immortal court was fully prepared, but they couldn't help but feel terrified when they saw so many experts appearing in the barbarian world. There were a total of 8 6th-grade barbarian sovereigns that appeared in the sky of the immortal court. There were only 3 6th-grade great sovereigns in the immortal court: Heaven Sovereign, Ling Lakun and Feng Jingyang. Motherfucker! Why are there so many 6th-grade barbarian sovereigns? Has the barbarian race become so powerful? Someone couldn't help but curse. I think it's related to the ancient elephant bloodline in Ah Nan's body. They must have come for the ancient elephant bloodline. Otherwise, they wouldn't have such a huge formation. Jiang Chen said. For the fastest novel reading, please visit Chapter 2083. Little Chenzi is right. The reason why the barbarian world sent such a huge army must be because of the ancient elephant bloodline. The ancient elephant bloodline in my body is the symbol of the barbarian god. It's very important to the barbarian race. When little Chenzi was in the miniature Xueqi world, the experts of the barbarian world came to snatch the ancient elephant bloodline. Now that the war has just begun, the barbarian world has sent such a huge army. It's obvious that they're here for the ancient elephant bloodline. This is the only explanation. Heaven Sovereign said. In the sky, the barbarian army was densely packed and boundless black chi waves were rolling. It was imaginable that the pure land of the immortal world would turn into a purgatory battlefield once the war begins. 8 6th-grade barbarian sovereigns stood at the front of the army. They were wearing yellow clothes. Jiang Chen could recognize that they were the people of the Wu Huang family. The leader was a majestic old man. His eyes were deep and black light was flickering in his eyes. After he appeared, he looked at the people below and finally locked his eyes on Heaven Sovereign. The ancient elephant bloodline is in his body. The old man pointed at Heaven Sovereign and said. The eyes of the other 7 6th-grade barbarian sovereigns fell on Heaven Sovereign at the same time. Their eyes were filled with passion. They came here with a mission. They must bring back the ancient elephant bloodline. Once they obtained the ancient elephant bloodline, a supreme expert would appear in the barbarian world, an existence that was infinitely close to the level of gods. At that time, the immortal world would truly be doomsday. You, offer up the ancient elephant bloodline in your body. You'll become a distinguished guest of our barbarian race. From now on, you'll enjoy all the glory and splendor. The old man said to Heaven Sovereign. I've always known that the barbarian race is bloodthirsty and no different from barbarians. I never thought that they're so stupid to say something like this. Heaven Sovereign sneered and snorted at the old man's words. He really didn't know what this old man was thinking. Don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Our barbarian race army is pressing down on your border. Your immortal world can only struggle at death's door. It's only a matter of time before you're destroyed in our hands. If you surrender to our barbarian race now, not only will you keep your life, you'll also be able to live a good life in the future. If you don't agree, we'll take action and flatten this place. With your current strength, you're not our match. The old man continued. You want to occupy the immortal world? Wishful thinking again. If I were you, it's still not too late to escape to the barbarian world. If we really fight, I'm afraid none of you will survive. The great divinity Heaven Sovereign said. The 8 6th-grade barbarian sovereigns on the opposite side were indeed very pressuring to the immortal court. However, with Jiang Chen here, he was afraid that these 6th-grade barbarian sovereigns could only be killed by Jiang Chen alone. One should know that Jiang Chen had a special method to restrain the barbarian race. He could kill a 6th-grade barbarian sovereign when he was still a 2nd-grade great sovereign. Not to mention that Jiang Chen was now a 3rd-grade great sovereign. Killing a 6th-grade barbarian sovereign was a piece of cake for him. Based on Nangong Wentian's understanding of Jiang Chen, no matter how many 6th-grade great sovereigns there were in the barbarian world, they wouldn't be able to stop him. Elder, there's no need to waste words with them. Just attack and kill everyone here. After that, extract the ancient elephant bloodline. There's no need to be polite with the people from the immortal world. A 6th-grade barbarian sovereign said. His killing intent soared to the sky, revealing the bloodthirsty nature of the barbarian race. Everyone, listen up. Get ready for battle. Heaven's Sovereign shouted at the people of the immortal court. Yes, Lord Sovereign. The people of the immortal court shouted in unison with imposing manner. With Jiang Chen and Heaven's Sovereign present, they were not afraid of the barbarian race at all. Kill! On the other side, the elder of the barbarian race shouted. Thousands of barbarians rushed down and engaged the people of the immortal court in an instant. A bloodbath immediately started. At the same time, the 8 6th-grade great sovereigns also took action. Feng Jingyang blocked one of them. Ling Lakun blocked another one. The remaining 6 6th-grade barbarian sovereigns all rushed towards Heaven's Sovereign. They came here for the ancient elephant bloodline. In their eyes, there was no such thing as justice or justice. Bullying the weak with numbers would not affect their dignity. They would only work hard for their own goal. Their goal was to kill Heaven's Sovereign and extract his bloodline. It was that simple. As long as they could achieve their goal, they didn't care what methods they used. Little Chenzi, looks like they don't put you in their eyes at all. Heaven's Sovereign smiled at Jiang Chen. That's their loss. Jiang Chen said and immediately casted the dragon transformation. The mighty heavenly dragon sword appeared in his hand. With a casual swing, thousands of layers of sword chi were formed, slashing towards one of the barbarians. A 3rd-grade great sovereign, you're courting death. The 6th-grade barbarian sovereign sneered and casually struck a palm at Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen did not reply and immediately struck a sword. It was an extremely ferocious sword strike, a sword strike that carried all of his attack power. Just the first wave of sword chi was enough to slash the opponent's attack into nothingness. In the next moment, the long sword destroyed everything and fell on the barbarian's head. What? The barbarian exclaimed. He knew that he had underestimated his enemy. He felt an extremely dangerous aura from Jiang Chen's sword strike. That was the threat of death. At the same time, he understood that the real terror here was not the 3 6th-grade great sovereigns, but the 3rd-grade great sovereign that they had never put in their eyes. Arg. However, it was too late. Jiang Chen's long sword carried boundless waves of fire. The enormous sword chi and the waves of fire interweaved into a big net, trapping the 6th-grade barbarian sovereign in an instant. The 6th-grade barbarian sovereign could not withstand it at all. His whole body was torn apart by Jiang Chen's sword and died on the spot. Jiang Chen would naturally not let go of all the essence of a 6th-grade barbarian sovereign. He tore a hole in the Zulong Tower and devoured the 6th-grade barbarian sovereign in a blink of an eye. To Jiang Chen, all the barbarians in the barbarian world were nourishment. He needed these nourishment to continuously improve his cultivation. Only by doing so, could he participate in the final battle. What? The other 5 had just besieged Heaven's Sovereign and were alarmed by the battle. Each of them exclaimed and looked at Jiang Chen as if they were looking at a ghost. Their eyes were filled with shock because they had never thought that a 3rd-grade great sovereign in the immortal world could be this powerful. Haha, I've said it before. If you guys didn't leave just now, I'm afraid none of you will be able to leave now. Heaven's Sovereign laughed. I'll restrain this man first. The 4 of you will join hands to kill that dragon man. Chapter 2084. All right. The 4 of them agreed and immediately gave up on Heaven's Sovereign. They besieged Jiang Chen from 4 different directions. Even though it was 4 against 1, their eyes were still filled with shock and fear. They had never seen such a powerful 3rd-grade great sovereign before. Moreover, they could feel that Jiang Chen's aura of extreme yang and blazing flames could greatly restrain the barbarian race. Under such restraint, they could not even display their full combat strength. Be careful. This man is not easy to deal with. One of them reminded. Haha. On the other side, Heaven's Sovereign laughed loudly. He was like a barbarian elephant, rushing towards the leader. With his strength, it was not a problem for him to fight against a 6th-grade barbarian sovereign. To put it bluntly, The 6th grade barbarian sovereign was not a match for Heaven's sovereign. Rumble. Heaven's sovereign and the 6th grade barbarian sovereign fought. The battle had just started, but Heaven's sovereign had already gained the upper hand. The 6th grade barbarian sovereign was being suppressed. You four, don't waste time. Quickly get rid of that dragon man. The leader felt great pressure and did not forget to shout at the other four. Let's attack together and kill him. A barbarian sovereign held a powerful barbarian weapon and released his aura to the extreme. He and the other three attacked Jiang Chen from 4 different directions at the same time. They must kill this opponent as soon as possible. Humph. Jiang Chen harumphed coldly. He halted his steps and casted the Great Void technique. His entire body disappeared in an instant. In the next moment, he appeared in front of one of the 6th grade barbarian sovereigns. The heavenly dragon sword carried endless waves of fire and was already on top of the 6th grade barbarian sovereign's head. With the Great Void technique, it was impossible for the 4 of them to besiege Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen relied on the Great Void technique to defeat the 4 of them one by one and kill them all. Arg! The 6th grade barbarian sovereign let out a blood-curdling scream. He was split into 2 halves by Jiang Chen and did not have any strength to fight back. One would never understand how terrifying Jiang Chen was if they hadn't truly fought against him. This was especially true for the barbarian race. They wouldn't know the extent to which Jiang Chen could restrain the barbarian race unless they had personally fought against Jiang Chen. The Zulong Tower tore open a gap and devoured the 6th grade barbarian sovereign completely. The enormous essence was transformed into precise energy and was absorbed by Jiang Chen, condensing into dragon marks. According to Jiang Chen's estimation, if he were to refine and absorb all 8 6th grade great sovereigns today, his cultivation base would advance to the 4th grade great sovereign realm and the Zulong Tower would be condensed to the 68th floor. Jiang Chen could clearly feel that it would be more difficult to condense the Zulong Tower towards the end. Especially after the 66th floor was condensed, the next 33 floors would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens. It would require an enormous amount of energy to support it. Moreover, as the Zulong Tower needed more and more energy, the energy that was separated from the Zulong Tower to Jiang Chen would decrease correspondingly, making it more and more difficult for him to advance. Fortunately, there were too many barbarians in the barbarian race. There were also many high-grade barbarian sovereigns. They could provide nourishment and energy to Jiang Chen continuously. In this way, Jiang Chen's advancement was still unstoppable. Anyway, what Jiang Chen wanted to do now was to kill crazily and kill all the barbarians. Another 6th grade barbarian sovereign was killed in a blink of an eye. The remaining 3 barbarian sovereigns had joined hands to fight against Jiang Chen. Not only did they not pose any threat to Jiang Chen, they even lost one of them. These barbarian sovereigns were terrified at the beginning, but now they were truly afraid. This was their first battle against the immortal world. They came here in high spirits, thinking that they would be able to kill all the people of the immortal court. However, they had never thought that they would meet a super abnormal being. None of them was a match for him. Now, the one waiting for death was no longer the immortal court, but the barbarian sovereigns. Die! Jiang Chen shouted. While the 3 of them were still in a daze, his heavenly dragon sword killed another barbarian. The whole process was extremely fierce, without any hesitation. Motherfucker, what kind of monster is this? Let's go. The plan has failed. Let's retreat. The other 2 6th grade barbarian sovereigns who were besieging Jiang Chen were scared out of their wits. They did not dare to delay any longer and immediately ran away. Don't leave now that you're here. Jiang Chen would never give them the chance to escape. These barbarian sovereigns were too strong. Every time a 6th grade barbarian sovereign escaped, it would bring great losses to the other places of the immortal world. The eternal immortal wind combined with the 5 elemental realms spread out, forming an invisible big net that instantly covered the 2 of them, not giving them any chance to escape. Howl. The heavenly dragon sword let out a melodious howl. The terrifying sword net intertwined and tore one of them apart on the spot. The remaining one was completely terrified. He was so scared that he could not even resist. He could only watch as Jiang Chen's sword fell on his head. Arg. Along with the last scream, another 6th grade barbarian sovereign died under Jiang Chen's sword. What? The leader who was fighting against Heaven's sovereign and the other 2 6th grade barbarian sovereigns who were fighting against Feng Jingyang and Ling LeCun felt like vomiting blood when they saw this scene. Out of the 8 6th grade barbarian sovereigns, 5 of them had been killed so easily in just a few minutes. How could this be? This was too scary. Jiang Chen was too ferocious. There was no way to stop him at all. This had given the barbarian race a huge psychological blow. Haha. Heaven Sovereign and Feng Jingyang laughed out loud. Their morale had been boosted and their attacks were getting stronger. On the other hand, the barbarian race's imposing manner had instantly become dispirited. Great. Jiang Chen is too ferocious. Killing 6th-grade barbarian sovereigns was as easy as chopping melons and vegetables. Fighting alongside him is an incomparably delightful thing. Kill. The morale of these barbarians is getting weaker. Let's go all out and kill them all. Don't leave a single one of them alive. We must leave no one alive. These are all disasters. The people of the Immortal Court were as if they were injected with chicken blood. They were waving the weapons in their hands and fiercely greeted their opponents. On the other hand, the morale of the barbarian race had completely fallen. Not to mention them, even the higher-ups of the Immortal Court were frightened. Retreat! The leader who was fighting against Heaven's Sovereign roared. They came fast and retreated even faster. The existence of Jiang Chen had messed up all their plans. The only thing they could do now was to retreat and come back again. If they did not retreat now, all of them would die here today. It's too late to retreat now. Heaven's Sovereign would never give him the chance to retreat. The Million Stars ruler turned into a ray of heavenly light and blocked the retreat of the leader. Chapter 2085. Voila! The light emitted by the Million Stars ruler was so huge that it completely blocked the path of the leader. Once Heaven's Sovereign unleashed his divine might, no ordinary barbarian sovereign of the same level could withstand it. Bang! The leader was anxious and had lost his will to fight. Now that he was blocked by the Million Stars ruler, the powerful airwave tore his attack apart and sent him flying hundreds of feet away. His face became extremely pale. On the other side, Feng Jingyang and Ling LeCun were restraining their opponents, not giving them any chance to escape. The barbarian race army was basically surrounded. Although the barbarian race had a lot of experts, they were still lacking compared to the Immortal Court. Moreover, their morale was low. Once they were surrounded, it would be extremely difficult for them to break through. Howl! Jiang Chen moved. The heavenly dragon sword burst out with supreme might. With a flash, he appeared above Ling LeCun's opponent and slashed down with his long sword. The barbarian sovereign was scared out of his wits. He hurriedly raised his barbarian weapon to resist Jiang Chen's heavenly dragon sword. Unfortunately, he was no match for Jiang Chen. Not only was his barbarian weapon slashed away by the heavenly dragon sword, half of his body was also chopped off by Jiang Chen's sword. Ling LeCun then dealt a fatal blow, completely ending the 6th-grade barbarian sovereign's life. After killing another barbarian sovereign, Jiang Chen did not delay any longer. He held his sword and rushed towards the 6th-grade barbarian sovereign who was fighting against Feng Jingyang. His aim today was to kill all of them, especially these powerful barbarian sovereigns. Arg! Another blood-curdling scream was heard. The 7th 6th-grade barbarian sovereign died under Jiang Chen's sword. At this moment, there was only one leader left. He was continuously vomiting blood after being beaten by Heaven's Sovereign. Seeing that he couldn't hold on any longer, Jiang Chen rushed towards him again with his sword. Looking at Jiang Chen, who was as ferocious as the god of death, the leader's face turned pale. He was in complete despair. His face was ashen and he almost gave up resisting. Puchi! Jiang Chen was merciless. His last sword slashed across the leader's body, splitting him in half. At this point, the 8 6th-grade barbarian sovereigns had all died under Jiang Chen's sword in less than 10 minutes. Such a scene was too shocking. Even Feng Jingyang and the others felt like they were dreaming. Jiang Chen's existence was too inspiring. After the death of the 8 6th-grade barbarian sovereigns, the rest of the barbarian race were like a group of dragons without a leader. They became like shrimp soldiers and crab generals. None of them had the slightest interest in fighting and were killed by the people of the Immortal Court. Looking at the battlefield, Jiang Chen revealed a smile at the corner of his mouth. He wouldn't participate in the next battle. Neither would Heaven's Sovereign and the others. It was a good thing for the people of the Immortal Court to use these barbarians as practice. As for Jiang Chen, what he wanted to do now was to break through to the 4th-grade Great Sovereign Realm. Nan, give me a large amount of sovereign-grade immortal meta stones from the Immortal Court. Hurry up! Jiang Chen said loudly to Nan Gong Wentian. The 68th floor of the Zulong Tower had been condensed and the number of dragon marks in his body had reached 185 million. He was about to break through to the 4th grade Great Sovereign Realm. However, the immortal metastones that he had stored previously were almost used up. He needed a large amount of sovereign-grade immortal metastones to break through to the 4th grade Great Sovereign Realm. Alright. Nangong Wentian didn't hesitate. He knew that Jiang Chen was at the critical moment of breaking through. In the face of such a catastrophe, the higher Jiang Chen's cultivation base was, the more damage he would cause to the enemy. So, a small amount of immortal metastones was nothing. Moreover, Nangong Wentian and Jiang Chen's relationship had been through life and death together. If Jiang Chen was in danger, Nangong Wentian was willing to risk his life to save him, let alone some immortal metastones. Heaven Sovereign grabbed the void and reached into another space. He took out a large amount of immortal metastones and sent them to Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen didn't hold back and absorbed the immortal metastones as if they were free. The Zulong Tower rumbled. At this moment, Jiang Chen's cultivation base had successfully advanced to the 4th grade Great Sovereign Realm. The number of dragon marks in his body had reached 185 million. After successfully advancing to the 4th grade Great Sovereign Realm, Jiang Chen's combat strength was much more terrifying than before. At his current level, he could even kill a 7th grade barbarian sovereign with a single strike. He could even fight against an 8th grade barbarian sovereign. If he used the gold feather fan, he could even kill an ordinary 8th grade barbarian sovereign. In other words, as long as Jiang Chen was in the immortal world, it was impossible for the barbarian race to cause any harm to the immortal world. Good. Little Chenzi. You have advanced to the 4th grade Great Sovereign Realm and your strength has become even more terrifying. The barbarian race is really unlucky to have met their nemesis like you. Heaven Sovereign said with a smile. Feng Jingyang and Ling Lekun also smiled happily. The faster Jiang Chen grew, the more they liked him. The war against the barbarian race needed someone like Jiang Chen the most. Ah Nan, seal everything here. Don't let anyone from the barbarian race escape. I'll go to the other immortal courts to check on the situation. Jiang Chen said. Now that the war had come, the barbarian race must have sent a lot of experts to deal with the immortal courts. Although the main reason why the Fengqi Immortal Court had 8 6th grade barbarian sovereigns was because of the ancient elephant bloodline in Heaven Sovereign's body, it didn't mean that the other immortal court's attacks were also very powerful. Sovereign Taishu had handed over the immortal world to him. Naturally, Jiang Chen had to shoulder this responsibility. Now that he had advanced to the 4th grade Great Sovereign Realm and the situation here had basically stabilized, Jiang Chen couldn't stay idle. He had to go to the other battlefields to check on them. Killing more barbarians, attacking the Zulong Tower and improving his cultivation were the most important and urgent matters at hand. However, Jiang Chen also knew that the further he went, the harder it would be for him to advance. If he wanted to condense the Zulong Tower again, he would need to kill a 7th grade barbarian sovereign in order to advance again. Alright, go ahead. You don't have to worry about this place. Heaven Sovereign said. Now that the 8 6th grade barbarian sovereigns were dead, the remaining barbarians couldn't pose any threat to the immortal courts. What awaited them was only slaughter and death. Jiang Chen's body flashed and disappeared, leaving the immortal courts. Demonic Immortal Island. At the moment, the demonic Immortal Island had completely fallen into the enemy's hands. A large-scale war was going on across the entire ocean. The battlefield stretched for thousands of miles. Dark clouds covered the sky, causing the whole world to fall into darkness, giving people a great pressure. Tian Peng Evil Emperor had transformed into a peerless heavenly Peng, fighting against 3 6th grade barbarian sovereigns alone without falling into a disadvantageous position. However, the demonic Immortal Island was still in a great crisis. The other 2 hidden 6th grade demon sovereigns had appeared, but they were also besieged by 3 6th grade barbarian sovereigns. In other words, there were a total of 6 6th grade barbarian sovereigns that came to fight the demonic Immortal Island. Each of them was stronger than the other. Even if Tian Peng Evil Emperor fought against 3 of them, the remaining 3 were enough to pose a great threat to him. More importantly, there were many 5th grade and 4th grade barbarian sovereigns that came to fight the demonic Immortal Island. The demonic Immortal Island couldn't defend against such a large number of barbarian sovereigns. Not long after the war started, there were already a great number of casualties. Chapter 2086. Arg! Blood-curdling screams filled the entire demonic immortal island and even spread to many other places in the outer sea. The entire outer sea was in an uproar. The heaven and earth had changed color. This was a cruel battlefield, a true Azura hell. Many of the great demons had reverted to their original forms. Their fleshly bodies could reach up to several hundred zhang. The barbarian race had also reverted to their original forms, which were as sturdy as mountains. Such a battle was very impactful to the eyes. There were huge monsters everywhere, and violent battle ripples could be felt everywhere. The bodies of the demonic beasts and barbarians were very strong. The demonic beasts and barbarians were also very ferocious. When the immortal world and barbarian world were at war, the demonic beasts had a certain advantage over the humans. But now, there were too many barbarians and experts. The barbarians had been recuperating for tens of thousands of years. Their overall strength had reached a terrifying level. The ones who appeared on the demonic immortal island were the Wulon family and the Xueqi family. Their first move was to deal a fatal blow to their enemies. Arg! All of a sudden, a 6th-grade demon sovereign let out a blood-curdling scream. One of his arms was torn off by his opponent. Currently, the two 6th-grade demon sovereigns of the demonic immortal island were being besieged by 3 barbarian sovereigns of the same level. They were the old antiques of the demonic immortal island, the supreme elders, but they had lost their fighting spirit because they had been in seclusion for too long. Their opponents were too ferocious. Plus, they had the advantage in numbers. One of the elders couldn't hold on any longer and was gravely injured. Haha, kill him. The expert of the Xueqi family was holding a hideous black mace in his hand. After tearing off the demon elder's arm, the mace descended and smashed heavily on the elder's head. Arg! The elder let out a blood-curdling scream and died on the spot. The death of a 6th-grade demon sovereign was a very serious blow to the morale of the demonic immortal island. Not only that, with the death of a 6th-grade demon sovereign, the remaining one would be in the same situation as Tianpeng Evil Emperor. However, he wasn't Tianpeng Evil Emperor. Without the terrifying strength of Tianpeng Evil Emperor, if he continued to fight, he might end up like his companion. Heavenly Peng Demon Sovereign saw everything that happened. Looking at the elder who was in imminent danger, he wanted to lend a hand, but he was entangled by 3 powerful opponents and didn't have the chance to do so. Damn it! Tianpeng Evil Emperor cursed. His entire body transformed into a huge reddish-gold heavenly Peng. His speed was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, he rushed out of the encirclement of the 3 and arrived in front of the elder. Surround them. A leader of the Xueqi family shouted. In the blink of an eye, 6 6th-grade barbarian sovereigns joined forces and surrounded Tianpeng Evil Emperor and the elder. Island Lord, our demonic immortal island is finished today. The elder was already disheartened and had even lost the will to continue fighting. What nonsense are you talking about? A bunch of barbarians want to destroy our demonic immortal island? Wishful thinking. Tianpeng Evil Emperor's imposing manner was like a rainbow. Even in such a situation, there was no trace of fear on his face. Jie. Tianpeng Evil Emperor, a wise man submits to circumstances. Your immortal world has lost its power. As long as your demonic immortal island surrenders to our barbarian race, I guarantee that you will not die. An old barbarian laughed evilly and said to Tianpeng Evil Emperor, What a joke. You want me, Tianpeng, to surrender? What are you thinking? Tianpeng Evil Emperor snorted disdainfully. This was a war of catastrophe. It was a matter of dignity. There was only life and death. There was no such thing as surrender. Today, even if he, Tianpeng Evil Emperor, died in battle, he would never surrender to the barbarian race. Humph. Since you refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit, then don't be polite. Attack with all your strength and kill both of them. As long as they die, the demonic immortal island will collapse. At that time, all the resources on the island and overseas will be ours. An expert of the Wulon family snorted coldly. Lung said, Kill. The leader of the barbarian race roared. The 6 of them burst out a powerful attack at the same time. The terrifying energy was enough to destroy everything. They bombarded madly towards Tianpeng Evil Emperor and the elder. Howl! Tianpeng Evil Emperor flapped his wings and let out a melodious cry towards the sky. He fought against the 6 of them alone. Rumble! The heavens and earth shook. The sky was smashed and endless waves were set off in the sea. Wah! Tianpeng Evil Emperor was seriously injured. He spurted out a mouthful of blood. No matter how terrifying he couldn't bear the situation of fighting against the 6 of them alone. Fortunately, Heavenly Peng Demon Sovereign was able to withstand such a powerful attack. If it was an ordinary person, he or she would have been smashed to pieces and died on the spot. The heavens want our demonic immortal island to perish. The elder of the demon race looked up at the sky without tears. He knew that the demonic immortal island was in grave danger today. Their opponents were too strong. Even Tian Peng Evil Emperor was no match for them. How could they fight against them? Haha, Tian Peng Evil Emperor. I'll give you one last chance. Surrender to us. The leader of the Xueqi family laughed and said, let's do it. Even if I die today, I'll drag 1 or 2 of you down with me. Tian Peng Evil Emperor was determined. At the last moment of life and death, his blood was completely stimulated. If that's the case, let's fulfill his wish. The leader of the barbarian race was determined. He was ready to attack Tian Peng Evil Emperor. On the ground, Xiao Wangqing and the Saintess were also fighting fiercely. The current Xiao Wangqing was already a 3rd-grade great sovereign. His innate talent wasn't any weaker than Yang Junlong. If it wasn't for the fact that he had wasted 300 years of cultivation, his current cultivation base wouldn't be any weaker than Yang Junlong. After joining the demonic immortal island, Xiao Wangqing's mind was clear and he was in a good mood. In addition to the abundant resources of the demonic immortal island, he was able to advance to the 3rd-grade great sovereign realm in a short period of time. However, a 3rd-grade great sovereign was not enough to deal with such a catastrophe. He couldn't even protect himself. At this moment, Xiao Wangqing and the Saintess looked at Tian Peng Evil Emperor who was in great danger. Their faces were filled with grief and indignation, but they couldn't do anything to help. They could only pray for a miracle. Hong Long. Just when the great sovereigns of the barbarian race were about to attack Tian Peng Evil Emperor and the people of the demonic immortal island fell into despair, a loud rumble was heard from the demonic immortal island's tomb. Such a powerful fluctuation had alarmed the entire battlefield. Countless eyes were looking at it, including the great sovereigns of the barbarian race. Everyone saw a yellow-robed young man walking out from the tomb. The young man was handsome. His black and white hair was particularly eye-catching. He held an iron staff in his hand, looking majestic. His body was radiating a dazzling golden brilliance that made people unable to open their eyes. Swoosh! 2 rays of golden light shot out from the young man's eyes like 2 blazing suns. The fiery golden eyes tore the void apart. With just a glance, a large number of barbarians were killed. Blood-curdling screams filled the sky and the barbarian race's camp was disrupted. The Peerless Monkey King was born. You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.